What else?
Welcome, everybody. Episode number 55 of the Dragon's Den podcast is now live and on the air. And whoa, okay, that did not. There we go. We got everybody.
Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda was the star of the show there for about 5 seconds. So, anyway, yeah, it was weird because when the show started, like for whatever reason during the intro, Miranda's mic was the only one that was not muted, and now she is muted. There we go. So I don't know what's happening with everything tonight. So it's the part of going live on a Sunday.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on. Like,
oh no,
it's real jumpy.
Well, hopefully we can get that sorted out. All right. Well, I guess we'll just hold down the fort while Brandon goes check something out here. Live television. We're doing a Sunday special podcast. We was not able to do it last night like we originally intended to do. We were planning on doing it, but had some Miranda had a wedding to go to, so was unable to come but get that ready to go before 9:30 last night. So we decided we'd do one tonight. And of course, things happened last night in the world of politics, so we've got some extra stuff to talk about by the end of the show. So, but before that, we got wrestling, we've got some movie news, we've got sports. The Indiana Pacers are currently playing Game 7 of the NBA Finals as we speak. Not really going their way early on, but from what I understand, it's a pretty close ball game. So we'll let you guys know how that's going once we get to sports as well, and of course, news and politics. So I'm joined here tonight by Matthew and Miranda. Brandon is here, obviously, as you just saw too. He'll be back hopefully here soon. And we've already got our first comment in the chat. It's from Matt's wife. Like the intro, very cool. I guess she's what'd you say, watching from another state at this point, right?
No, she's not in another state. She's
I'm
on vacation.
I keep confusing Nashville and Little Nashville. It's two different places.
Yes.
But yeah. She's still technically in the state.
Yeah, she's on vacation.
Yeah, right on. Hope she's having a good time. Hope she's enjoying the show as always, and we appreciate you watching, Sierra. No doubt about it. And we got our buddy Mike in the comments as well. He said, "I survived last week's gathering. I somehow survived my little girl's birthday party today. Trying to get the birthday girl asleep right now." Yeah, he said something about the birthday party was going to be outside and over 90-degree weather. So I'm sure he's definitely excited to be back in the air conditioning. I know right now I'm having a very deep, intimate relationship with my air conditioning. I'll tell you that right now. It's the best thing ever.
I've been struggling with mine.
You've been struggling with it, huh? What's wrong with it?
It's just been too hot. I mean, the house is just it's not cool enough. It's because it's over 100 degrees.
Mm-hmm. It's overworking itself a little bit.
Yeah,
I can see that. Well, we got Chocolate Thunder back, even though he's muted. What's up, man? or as Mike likes to call him, Chocolate Thunder, and I'm the Vanilla Blunder, as he says.
Wild.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, see, Sierra's blaming you. He says she says you broke it. You broke it.
I broke it. Yeah.
What, are you changing the thermostat all the time? Making it cold?
Hey, have you changed your air filter lately?
Yeah, she makes fun of going on the trip because every time she goes on this trip, last time she went on this trip, we were out of power for 3 days because of a microburst hitting Bloomington.
Well, it sounds like you're changing the thermostat on her from the sounds of it. So, for one thing I've learned, it sounds like a lot of people in marriage fight about money and the thermostat. So,
yes.
Be careful with it. So,
Yeah, stop touching shit.
Yeah.
Leave it be. Let it be. That's all I know. Well, how's everybody doing? I ain't talked to you guys in a while. I know some of you were busy yesterday. So, but yeah.
Other than that, I'll tell you what, it was cool. We went, we had a wedding to go to. It was cool to see Candace again in all her wedding glory. That was
former coworkers.
Look at this. Her ceremony was quick, dude. Like, we were probably in the church for all of it. Took longer to get there to get seated than the ceremony did. Like, it was quick.
Nice.
And then it was straight to partying right after that.
They're like, we go get in, get out, and let's go drink. The sounds of things.
We went, and obviously we got to see Chris, which I haven't seen Chris in fucking months. So
yeah.
Just sit and talk to him, and also Sam, she was there, so I got to talk to her and stuff. And
good deal.
Kids had a blast. Me and Anaya shared a dance after me and Miranda shared a dance. It was good. Jaden was Jaden. I don't know what else to say.
All looking pretty dapper on the photos I saw.
Oh, we was clean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We was clean.
You got your Sunday finest out.
As hot as it was, Jaden still wore a jean jacket, and I was like, "But why?"
Hey, no way, man. But he was like we'll wear like that Jedi robe outside in the hot weather too. I don't understand.
Poncho.
Dress up again.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna get dressed up again. We was dapper. We was dapper as hell.
Yeah.
But other than that, other than being miserably hot, like I opened the door and like the heat hit me, and I was like, "Nah, you can keep it." You keep it.
I am very grateful that I work in an air-conditioned, regulated building because that is one of the perks.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have to worry about working out in the heat and all that. Or the
I'm very grateful. last weekend was nice compared
Yeah.
to this weekend with the cookout.
Yeah. That's what I said. I was like, last weekend the weather was nice. When we had our little get together, the weather
Yeah.
was perfect.
It wasn't bad at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that worries me about the rest of the year. Like I've got at least 2 camping trips I've got planned. I'm hoping those are not going to be unbearably scorching hot. Well, the one shouldn't be because it's in October. It should be pretty decent. Last year was pretty nice when it comes to the heat. So,
but see, you gotta worry about when it's that hot too, the bugs and shit. Ugh.
Yeah.
Eric, which weekend in October?
It's like the first weekend. It's like the 4th or 5th or something like that. It's very early.
Okay. We're gonna have another party towards the end of the October.
Okay, well, you'll have to let me know what date that is too, because I'll probably go to my dad's for around Halloween, but hopefully I can do both. But yeah, let me know. Right now I'm scheduled to go out of town the weekend before Halloween. Halloween weekend, I'll probably be around, hopefully. So that'll be kind of nice. So if you do it on Halloween weekend, that might be all right. So that's the plan at the moment. So just an FYI. I know, kind of, little housekeeping here, I guess you could call it here on the channel. But anyway, Mike said in the chat, it actually wasn't bad outside of his daughter's birthday party. It was at Cart Splash Pad and had a decent breeze under the shelter. There you go. So it wasn't too bad. That's good. It's kind of the way it is at the old Indy 500. Sometimes there's nice breeze up underneath there. Yeah.
We took the kids to the pool today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was fun.
Nice. He said the old Cord Factory didn't have AC fans, just fans. Was fun doing the summer for sure. Yeah, screw that. I mean, I've worked jobs that are that hot.
Brother, I used to work at a door factory where we made steel doors and stuff. And I used to work back by the oven. Do you know
I did too.
when it was like 90 degrees outside, being in there by the oven, it was like 110. And then we didn't have.
I have one
AC.
better for you though, because the oven. Yeah, the oven at Craft Made was huge, and I worked right next to it, and it was like every day 120 degrees in there in the summer.
Well,
it was nice in the winter.
Toss us right behind where we work, Brandon.
Yeah,
that hot plastic molding comes right out of the machine. Yeah, no, there wasn't much air conditioning in there in the summer, and that stuff was scorching hot.
Oh yeah, I worked in a plastic factory before. It was miserable in the summer.
I only did it for about a year, and I was out.
Yeah.
It was funny. We used to sit on breaks outside. I'd look over at our current job, and we'd be like, "Man, it just looks like it'd be such a nice place to work, boy." I'll leave it.
The way that came out.
Hey,
You're wrong.
To be fair, though, as much as we may have complaints about her sometimes, I will say this though, and it goes to show you how many bad jobs I've had. It's still the best job I've ever had.
I can understand that. Like I can understand it, like, but it's just
the best paying job for the work.
That too.
The amount of mental frustration they give you is
that's
that may be another story.
To you one day.
Yeah, that's why I'm losing my hair. No, let's be fair. That was going long before, but anyway, yeah. So yeah,
we ran into one of our other old coworkers yesterday, and she left the warehouse too and went up and got another job. I told her the day that my very last day at Cook, I stopped and got groceries, and when I went to turn to get out of the car, my entire back popped. It was the stress leaving my body, knowing I never had to walk back in there.
Well, hopefully you didn't throw your back out then. Sorry.
No.
I felt great.
Sometimes I always
it was a good
pop.
Good pop.
Gotcha. Yeah, like going to the chiropractor. Yeah. See, with me, I don't get many good pops. Mine are usually bad.
Mine wasn't good. When I stopped wrestling, when I said I was done wrestling, the pop that I felt wasn't a good one. It was my body going, all right, so you're done. So we could just release all the shit that we were holding. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I still hurt. Like there are parts of me that are still sore from doing shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That was not good.
No, Mike said he works at the company we work at. Only the third job he's ever had, and obviously his longest. Yeah, and my longest too. I've been there 20 years next month. So yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, at this point, I'm probably a lifer. I hate to say it, but it's just the way it is. I know it's like at this point, it's kind of like where else am I going to go? You know,
And that's what
it
is,
was
too.
my longest.
It's been my longest.
Yeah, and I've always kind of, had this motto of like, well, it's the better to deal with the devil I do know than the devil I don't know. So part of me is like, well, maybe I'll just ride it out. But it's just the way it is.
Like you go somewhere else, like
At least you're entertained.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah. All moment. Let's be honest. There's always something going on.
Always something to keep us interested, for sure. It may not be good or bad, but either way, we gotta pull through. No doubt about it. All right, well, let's move on from that controversial topic so we all don't get in trouble. So I think we're good. But anyhow, we got a bunch of topics tonight. We were off last week, obviously, because we got together for the Flag Day military parade over there at Brandon and Brandon's house, which was a great time, by the way. Thank you for having us over. Great food, all that good stuff. So yeah,
I had this premonition while when I was cooking, when we were all over. At first it was just me and Ty, right? And then all of a sudden you come over, Nate comes over, and then all the guys are now standing over at the grill. Did you notice that? That every male that was there was standing over.
It's in our species nature. What can I say?
Yeah, food. Yeah.
And then
listen. We're gonna need your guys' help in a few weeks. Hopefully. Not weeks. We'll go with months.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna redo the backyard
okay.
Yeah.
Paying by the hour, or just in steak. That's all good.
Food.
Hey,
food and
that's
drink.
the best payment. That's
food and drink.
Best payment you can give me.
But yeah, I had this. It made me laugh. Like I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, I noticed this when I was cooking. It started off me and Ty, and then all of a sudden, all of the men just came over to the grill holding a beer or a drink in their hand, and we're just standing there watching me grill meat. And
just like, yep, good job. You better flip that one.
Funniest fucking thing ever. And then I was like, and then the firearms got broken out, and then it was just a whole thing.
It's what we do, man. We supervise. That's our armchair grilling.
Yeah. But it was a good time. I really had fun. It was great to hang out with Nate, obviously. And then the amount of hours we spent in my living room watching people get slapped in the face and rodeos, bull riding. That shit was
slap fights, not us there in person.
Yeah,
it was
slap fight shit was crazy. But then
aren't we going to a rodeo in September?
Yeah, we're going to a rodeo.
Ooh, let me know when.
Where at?
I'll see if I can make it work.
Ty was telling us about it, so I have to ask him.
All right.
I don't know.
As long as it's not my nephew's birthday weekend, I think we'll be okay.
That sounds fun.
I'll ask him and find out, and we can iron out details. Because after watching that, I'm like, well, I got to see one of these live. These bulls don't fuck around.
Brandon's already got a cowboy hat, so we know.
Yeah.
Don't they usually have one at the Monroe County Fair?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, they do.
When is the fair?
I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Tomorrow.
That's when it starts?
I think so.
If that's the case, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, Mike said in chat, Brandon Miranda, I think the girls really enjoyed themselves last week. Avery beat up Eric. Elliston beat up Nate. Reese loved the trampoline, and they all, I think, like Chocolate Thunder. So yeah, it's good to see you guys. No doubt about it.
By that name, it was the funniest.
Right on.
That and Jaden,
our kids had a good time too.
Yeah, and Jackson telling Miranda Travis Kelce was outside was hilarious.
Oh yeah, one of our former coworkers. He does look a lot like him now. I'm not gonna lie, he really does. No doubt about that.
But him, Ty, listen, I kept seeing Ty out of the corner of my eye, thinking it was Gilbert. I'm like, this is you. You got too many twins.
One of you two got to shave.
Apparently, I'm lost on this one, but Sierra says, and I'm a white cucumber.
Whoa. Matt, is that her nickname for you? Call Matt the white cucumber.
No,
I'm not doing it. That's crazy.
Mike said on the subject of slaps, if you lost a slap bet, should you take 10 slaps at once or 5 to be dished out anytime, any place? 10 slaps at once, 5 to be. Oh, he's referencing How to Met Your Mother. They did that where it was like 5 anytime, any place, but you don't know when it's coming. It could be at a wedding, it could be in public, it could be any time of their choosing. You take the 5 anytime, not 10 at once.
Nope.
No matter how embarrassing it is.
First of all, I don't like being slapped in general. So like I'd rather you just do it and like, randomly whatever than you just doing it all 10 times because you're in my face that whole 10 times. I'm probably gonna punch you. So
I mean, I just wouldn't want it to be done like at a funeral or somebody else's wedding or
some decorum would be nice.
No, that at least in How I Met Your Mother, that was the thing. It didn't matter where or when.
At a funeral is
anytime.
At a funeral is just
no. Obviously, you get the consequences, but yeah. So can you imagine? Just be randomly.
While you're grieving, somebody walks up and I'm not for real.
Well, at least as far as I remember, Mike could have to correct me, but I don't know if there was any restrictions. I don't think there were in the show. So it made it funny because you were watching throughout the season, wondering when these slaps were going to come.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it might even been multiple seasons, but it was pretty funny. The slap bet. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know what this means. We got somebody in the chat. Maybe I don't know if it's a troll or not. When we'll read it. Oh no, Mike said there was no restrictions. Somebody in the chat who's supposedly Donald Trump said I never seen a skinny person drink Pepsi. So
what?
Don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Trump did say that before.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, well there you go.
it should be. I never seen a skinny person. Well, no, it was. He's never seen a skinny person drink. No, wait a minute.
Well, he drinks Diet Coke, so
Coke
maybe that's why
like
he said it.
Yeah.
Mike said so there was no restrictions on the slap bet, and it was apparently the slap bet apparently went over several seasons. So yeah, so you didn't know when these slaps were coming in the show, and then they would just randomly pop up. It's like gotcha. So it was great. I need to rewatch that show. It was good. It was good, all except the ending. I think Mike would agree on that one.
I think most people didn't like the ending because he didn't end up with who they thought he was going to end up with. Correct?
Well, he did, but she died.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
and then do it too to where he ended up with Robin.
Well, yeah, that was the whole thing. He was telling the story about how he met his mother, or how he met the kid's mother to the kids throughout the entire series. And at the very end, the mother died of cancer. And so but at the end of the story, the kids were like, no, this is a story about how you love Aunt Robin. And so he ended up going with Robin at the end, which he did like date a lot during the show and stuff too. But yeah, it was interesting, no doubt about it. I never did watch the How I Met Your Father. I don't think it was nearly as successful, but
probably not.
Have you guys ever? By the way, you guys talk about the slap.
Slap bet, yeah.
Have you guys ever seen I think it's the third Jackass.
With the big hand.
When Johnny Knoxville has the big ass hand, and I think it's Bam Margera, and I can't remember who the other one was. He goes, I want you to carry in some warm soup.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the time that Brandon come up to me and goes, Matt, I got some chocolate for you. I want you to try this chocolate. Now, let me tell you something. When your best friend comes up to you and goes, here, I want you to try something, it's usually not.
No, you got to remember.
For your mental health.
You got to remember, we're not friends with Brandon. We're acquaintances.
We're not. Yeah.
You got to remember that. So you got to remember.
I'm sorry.
That chocolate was
best friend. Acquaintance.
Listen, I will never do that again. That's on me. Like, never again.
He's like, even I went too far.
I learned my lesson on that shit. That shit was atrocious.
Yeah. Mike said there was one where they did a slap countdown on How I Met Your Mother, aka Slapsgiving. So you knew it was coming, but it was a countdown.
So you didn't know when it was going to hit you.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's horrible.
Yeah. Good show, no doubt about it. All right, well, we got some other shows and stuff to talk about, so let's get on with it. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. Don't want to run two legs. Some of us do work in the morning. So anyway, all right, let's get into it. Let's get to it. All right, let's start out in the world of pro wrestling. We've had 2 weeks, but we're only going to cover a couple big topics, I think, for the most part. We don't want to be here all night long. We start with the big news of Liv Morgan dislocated her shoulder this week on Monday Night Raw, wrestling Kairi Sane. She will be out. Some reports are saying up to 16 weeks. Others say maybe 6 months, even going into 2026, because she apparently will probably need surgery on her shoulder, which means WWE is going to have to scrap their original Evolution 2 plans because Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were set to face perhaps both Bella twins at the Evolution pay-per-view coming up here in about a little less than a month's time. And Liv Morgan is also one half of the women's WWE Tag Team Champions. So this really sucks. Now, I did like a theory that Mike had broached in one of our chats that we have. He said it would make a lot of sense for Roxanne Perez, who Finn Balor's kind of recruited into the Judgment Day, to kind of maybe take Liv Morgan's spot to kind of fill in for her with the Tag Team Champions. But I don't know how well that was set with Raquel Rodriguez, but it would play into the rivalry they're setting up between Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan, and maybe you could do Roxanne versus Liv when Liv does come back. But we just don't know how long that's going to be at this point. Did you guys see this injury? And do you have any thoughts on obviously the long-term recovery she's going to have to take care of?
Oh, that looks terrible. No,
and it was within like 30 seconds of the match too. Like she just got like an overhead flip takedown. It was a standard, and she was just trying to brace her fall with her arm, and it popped her shoulder out. And it's a bad dislocation. So sucks for Liv. They had a lot of big plans for her coming up going into the summer, and just very bad timing, no doubt. So
by the way, all those people out there that say you can't get hurt wrestling, take a look at that. That's proof of it right there.
Yeah,
I've seen my fair share of injuries in the wrestling ring. Like, that's crazy work. I mean, it sucks because it's a routine thing. Nobody did anything wrong. You're just bracing yourself for impact, and boop, there it goes. You know what I mean? Like, for all, they say it a lot. You know, this isn't ballet. It isn't. It isn't. And like, it sucks for her though, because you're right. She was on a hell of a pattern. Like, her work as of late has been awesome. Like, Liv has been crushing it. So she came back from injury. So like, that sucks.
Yeah, it really does. Do you think the Roxanne Perez storyline maybe setting
I think it would work. I think it would work. I mean, and think about the fire Liv would have coming back too, because like you could have the whole. You remember like when Liv was weaseling her way into Judgment Day and like slowly driving that wedge between Dom and
Rhea.
This is sort of a like
Same
kind
thing.
of like
and it's being directed at the hands of Finn Balor. You can clearly tell. You continue to work that with Dominic moving forward. It's just going to be one of those things that's really going to suck because you really can't pull the trigger on it until Liv is ready to return, I think. Yeah. So that means the Judgment Day, it sounds to me at least, they're going to be sticking around for a little bit longer than maybe we originally thought, I should say. Because we had talked for a while that they were going to break them up for a while now. It's still not happening.
But it was going in that direction. And I think using Raquel would help. And this too, it'll split, Finn off of it. And I think Finn's probably going to end up on SmackDown, which is probably best, in
the long term.
Yeah.
Now, do you think like maybe this could be kind of like a Naomi stepping in for Jade Cargill type situation?
Yeah.
And what maybe Raquel Rodriguez ends up liking? Roxanne Perez? I mean, you could maybe do it right now. Obviously, it's still new. Maybe she doesn't like her now, but I could
have it go that way. Yeah.
And I think, and we're going to talk about the Queen of the Ring here in just a minute, which could lead into the Roxanne storyline as well. So hang tight on that one. Mike says Roxanne has to be Liv's replacement in the tag team. Just makes sense to me. It does make sense. I think just where they're going. So I think that would be the easiest route and probably the best route, all things considered. So sometimes the best way to go in pro wrestling is the obvious one. So I think they should probably take advantage of this, in my opinion. So yeah. We also apparently the last time we were on the show, R-Truth's contract had expired and he was gone from WWE. Well, literally while we were live, Money in the Bank was taking place 2 weeks ago, and Miranda even saw it before the end of the podcast, and she didn't ruin it for us. But R-Truth was back, and he attacked John Cena, and ever since then, he's cut his hair, and he's been chasing John Cena down ever since, and he's been going by Ron Killings, his real name, even though WWE keeps calling him R-Truth. Triple H also tried to play this off as it was all part of the show at the post-show media scrum at Money in the Bank. But R-Truth's son even stated that his his contract wasn't renewed initially. So Triple H just trying to, I think, kind of play it. But they at least listened to the fans. They did get him back. So that's a good thing, I guess, in my opinion. I don't know how long this run's going to be for Ron Killings or R-Truth, but as of right now, he is stalking John Cena left and right, and he just had a match with him where he lost by DQ on SmackDown, which we'll talk about in just a second. But thoughts on Ron Killings being back, and do you like the fact they're kind of making him out to be this more serious character now?
Yeah, because sorry, you think about all the comments that were underneath it. A lot of it were the wrestlers themselves talking about it. He's had a lot of comedic moments, and he can be that comedic moment. Why are you sleepwalking?
Is he dreaming?
Yeah. He's going through it.
Loki had something to say on the matter.
He chasing rabbits.
He's doing something. But he was this serious character in TNA, and I liked it. So I'm interested to see where it goes. And think about it. Now it's full circle between him and John Cena. This whole thing with John, he's so-called, childhood hero of John, and now that so-called hero is this bad guy, and he put you through hell, and it's like now you've had enough. And I seen this picture that somebody posted of Ron Killings, how his hair was cut, and then they put Minoru Suzuki's picture next to it. Remember the match that we watched where he lost and he had to cut his hair?
Mm-hmm.
And then he just became this mean old fucking, like he wasn't already mean with the hair, but he became more so. Wrestle Kingdom, we watched it was him and Naito, and Naito beat him, and he ends up cutting his hair off, or was it Gato? I can't remember. Anyway,
well, it had that very similar design, so I see where you're going with it.
And I was like, all right, I see it. But this side of Ron is pretty cool, and I'm interested to see how far it goes. And I doubt, he's going to have a long-term thing. He's 53 years old, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
If he does, he'll probably get a Legends contract, which he probably already has a Legends contract. And, we'll see him sporadically, but I don't think, after this run with Cena's up, I think that's probably it for Ron. And he's had a hell of a career. One thing I wish is he would have held the title.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people thinking that maybe that could still be in the cards for him at some point. He beats Cena for it, but I don't know if I see that necessarily happen personally. Yeah. But maybe, but at least
it was a transitional champion thing, which is even still like, I would just love for him to hold the title at least once. Before he actually hangs up his career.
Didn't he win the world title at one point, or the WWE title? Like, it wasn't long if he did. I thought maybe he did at one point, but it was very, very short. Maybe Mike in the chat can look at one up for us. I'm pretty sure maybe it might have been one time. I don't know, but either way, I think this is good for Truth, especially because unlike Carlito, he actually gets a chance to write the end of his story a little bit. Carlito just kind of was one week here and next week gone. Also, I heard a report out there that Truth was also allowed to kind of negotiate a little bit to come back. So in order to use his real name, and that way it also gives him the freedom to kind of, use his real name here to kind of get that clout from WWE. And then if he goes to the independents and uses Ron Killings, he has that to kind of carry over with them into the independent scene. So I think it's a smart move on his part for his contract negotiation. So hopefully this all works out. But the We Want Truth chance apparently did work because he was a part of the budget cuts. And that's been planned ever since the beginning of the year. So it sounds like it worked out well for Ron Killings here, no doubt about it. So
yeah, he won the hardcore champ early in his career as K Quick. He's won the WWE Tag Team Championship with Kofi. I didn't know he 2-time United States champion and the 24/7 championship, which he has a long
7-Eleven 365,
which he made that funny.
Title was so stupid.
But he made it enjoyable. R-Truth was the best part about when they brought that title back. His run with that.
Pin you at any time, anywhere.
Yeah, that's how it used to be.
That's how stupid that is. Just how stupid.
He got pinned on a golf course. He made it
on a golf course.
Yeah. But he never won the WWE title from the looks of it.
Never won the
WWE. I thought maybe there was like a short run he had there with Randy Orton or something. I couldn't remember. Now the question, Mike, was whether or not R-Truth had ever won the WWE or world title. I couldn't remember. I thought maybe he had a small run, but maybe it was some other title I'm thinking of. So, well, that sucks. But yeah, you're right. Then I would love to see him maybe get like one small run. Just got but I don't know if it's in the cards, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it makes sense in the long term.
Like I said, he's 53 years old too. Like,
yeah. But either way, I'm just glad to see him able to, get the respect that he deserves, and hopefully he can, carry at least end his story in WWE in a proper manner, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll see here. I heard a little ding on here. I didn't know if it was like somebody Oh, there's Miranda. So maybe it was her. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about here is Goldberg, at 58 years old, returned on Monday Night Raw this week to set up a World Heavyweight Championship match with Gunther at Saturday night's main event coming up here on July 12th. To me, and I want to get Brandon's take on this, I think taking the World Championship off of Jey Uso for this is a bad decision.
Yeah, I think you could just have this match. This
does not need the World Heavyweight Championship. No. And Goldberg, I guess, was asked about it, and he said, quote, I was 176 and I don't have to stand in a freaking line for a world title shot. Bro, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So this does, and look, and I understand this is Goldberg's last match. That's what they're building it as. It's his retirement match. Yeah. I got no problem with him having a retirement match. Fine. But I ain't gonna lie to you. When he come out to face Gunther on Raw, just from his pyro alone and him doing the punch and the kicks, he was limping on the way to the ring. And cutting the promo on Gunther, he was gassed within about 30 seconds. Sweating bullets. I just worry about, because the last match he had was what? Like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah, him and Taker was terrible.
Yeah, and he now granted, before that match, Goldberg bashed his head into a door, gave himself a concussion, basically knocked himself out, and still went out to finish the match. And he about dropped Undertaker on his freaking head. Mm-hmm. So this terrifies me as a fan.
So I don't think we're gonna get much of that. This will probably be what it was with Goldberg and Lesnar. Okay. Over, it'll be a spear, real quick, whatever. Yeah. I don't see him winning this title. Like, that's not happening.
No, it better not. But there was a theory out there that Goldberg would win and Seth Rollins would cash in on him.
Eric, this match will last 30 seconds.
It better not last more than 3 minutes. I'll tell you that.
It better last less than 30 seconds.
It can't go longer than 3 minutes.
No. And most of Goldberg's matches in the last 10 years have not. I think the longest was Taker, and it was like 9 minutes.
Yeah, this match will not go more than 30 seconds.
I don't think this one needed the title.
These two old guys, they're too old. He's too old to wrestle.
Especially if he's going to lose it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see why the title.
I don't understand. Why would you rip the title off of Jay? He's just getting his wings.
Well,
if it's to give it to Seth, then Goldberg didn't like.
Yeah, you could have just done that off Jimmy, or whatever.
Better give it to Seth
or Jay. I mean, Jay. But yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make much. It feels like they heard some of the fans, the negative fans out there, who think Jey Uso can't wrestle or he's not ready for a world title run, which we here on the channel think that's a little bit kind of dumb.
Yeah. So the man was crushing it. Like, I don't know what we're talking about here, but.
It's almost like they got cold feet with it, and they just decided, no, let's put it back on Gunther. And I don't know what they got planned here, but yeah, I mean, you could have done Jay holding the belt and doing some other feud, and then still have this match, and it would have been just as effective for Goldberg's retirement match. So I really, really dislike this.
But if the goal is to let him beat Gunther in like 30 with the spear and a quick jackhammer, and then Seth cashes in and beats Goldberg, then you don't beat Gunther necessarily with Seth. It gives Gunther motivation to go after Seth, but it also, with the King of the Ring going on,
we got 3 guys there could be going for this as well.
So
especially Jay. Jay is involved there, which is almost like, they take the world title from Jay, put him in the King of the Ring. Oh, we'll let Jay win the King of the Ring though to kind of smooth this over a little bit. I don't know if I don't even know if Jay's going to win it. He could. And then maybe have Jay face Seth or, chase Seth. I mean, you could do that. Yeah. I mean, that would be optimal probably in my opinion. So, yeah. Mike's in the chat. The only world title Ron Killings ever won was the NWA world title when TNA was in its first year and was under the NWA banner. Defeated Ken Shamrock for it, then later lost it to Jeff Jarrett. He would be the first black man to hold the NWA title. So that's a good accolade. So no doubt about it. But yeah, he's been successful. Just not on the grandest stage, if you want to call it that, for WWE, I guess, when it comes to world championship.
That shit. But I mean, whatever. If it's Goldberg's last go, then fine. So be it.
But but Brandon, it's a turd.
It's definitely a turd
for sure.
He's
ain't putting butts in the seats. I can tell you that much.
Well,
this is not This is not selling tickets.
Now, it's all based on nostalgia for Goldberg, and WWE has been guilty of that. And some people want to say that's the same for John Cena right now, but Cena's getting his send off, so I'm not saying that about him.
I tell you what,
Cena cut Sunday or Friday was fucking.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it in a second. But when it comes to this here, I'm fully with this meme. I know what we'll be watching that night. It's not going to be Goldberg. It's going to be Okada Omega 5. That's what's going to be happening. So
just bring. It's like bringing Brock Lesnar back 50 years later to wrestle some rookie wrestler.
Well, this is also why I've cooled my stance when I've, because I've done my fair share of complaining about, WWE keeps counter programming AEW. If they keep doing this, I'm not worried. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
because that's not a good counter program. It's not.
I mean, if this was Lesnar versus Gunther, then
that's another story, maybe. But even then, a lot of people get title Lesnar. So, but and he's kind of another guy that's getting up there in age. So, at some point, I mean, and again, it's a one-off for Goldberg. I got no problem with it per se, but I'll just watch it the next day, and I'll probably know what happens of it the night of All In. So, but yeah, that's just me personally. So, any other thoughts on Goldberg before we move on?
No thoughts on Goldberg.
No, and it does sound like he'll be on television for the next few weeks leading up to this. Even though I heard he about missed Monday Night Raw this week because he forgot what day it was on.
That's crazy.
That's why we don't need this match to happen. That's
Miranda's got something to say. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I can't.
I don't know what either, but what?
That's what I heard. I don't know how true it was. I'm sitting there going, it's literally called Monday Night Raw. But anyway, he's been out of the game for a while. Maybe that's, I don't know, that old age, catches up to you too. I don't know. But I shouldn't say too much.
Thought it was pre-recorded.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's the way. Well, WCW.
Nobody would care if the title wasn't involved.
No,
it would just be a match between him and Gunther. Again, whatever.
Which they set up last year, so fine.
Yeah,
but it was funny. Somebody asked Gunther about it. I guess Gunther replied on X or something about like, "Oh yeah, great. I can spare 3 minutes."
Yeah, I could.
So
it shouldn't go longer than that.
No, it better not either, because I'd be afraid for both their healths if that's the case. Because Gunther would have to carry that. No, and Gunther is very capable of doing so. But it's just, I don't think this is something we need to have a long thing on. But yeah, hopefully they'll build the rest of that show. So far, that's the only match I think on the card. But anyway, we still got about a month to go. But as Brandon mentioned, this last Friday night on SmackDown, 14 years almost to the date. This next week would be 14 years exactly since the infamous 2011 CM Punk pipe bomb that's CM Punk dropped on John Cena. Well, this time the roles were 100% completely reversed, including a match between John Cena versus R-Truth that ended with the other guy through the table this time. John Cena went through the table after the match, and then CM Punk went through the table this time, and John Cena cut the pipe bomb, which was basically ripped straight from CM Punk's pipe bomb. He kind of just flipped some things around instead of saying, "Hey, Colt Cabana," Cena was just like, hey, Claudio Castagnoli, hey, Nick Nemeth, hey, Matt Cardona, doing the whole breaking the fourth wall thing, talking about how he used to be anti-establishment CM Punk, and now he's Mr. TKO, being a hypocrite when it comes to his values.
It was fucking phenomenal.
I thought it was pretty funny.
The fact that CM Punk had to lay there and listen to all of it.
Yeah. Well, Cena did too, but at the time it was more about the company than it was Cena,
But Cena was the company.
True too. Yeah.
And whether CM Punk wants to admit it now, CM Punk is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the roles,
which is ironic. So ironic.
Then that's what Cena was pointing out.
Right. And I like that part of it because he even talked about how his values changed with the win. Like there's been multiple people, going after CM Punk as of late because he always called, going to Saudi Arabia, blood money and all this stuff. And now he's supposed to be main eventing in Saudi Arabia,
He tweeted at The Miz and told him to go suck some more of that blood money dick in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Those were his words. And guess where he's going to wrestle?
Well, we're going to get to that in a second too, but as of right now, that's what's scheduled to him to go all the way to Saudi Arabia. So, and he used to say this stuff in AEW to MJF about, why don't you main event a 2-night extravaganza, blah, 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 blah. And he just main evented night 1 of a 2-night extravaganza in wrestling. So a lot of people are pointing out CM Punk's hypocrisy, and a lot of people in real life don't care for CM Punk. I mean, I don't mind him as a performer, but I probably do have my issues with him outside of the ring. That's fine, but it's none of my business. But at the end of the day, I thought this was if nothing else, John Cena was having a hell of a time delivering this promo. You could tell he was having a blast.
He said shit, and he took that little kid. He was like, "Uh-oh, Cena said a curse word."
Oh, yeah.
Died.
That was pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie about that. Then he ended up saying GD after that, which is something I definitely make a point not to say. But yeah, I'm like, this is not the John Cena of old. So in a way, it did work for the character at this point. So, yeah. So I guess we're going to be getting that. But that kind of leads us into our predictions for Night of Champions. That's right as of right now, scheduled for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, next Saturday, June 28th, with the Friday night SmackDown also emanating live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Now, don't want to get too much into the politics just yet because we are going to cover this a little bit later. However, with this show being held in Saudi Arabia and after the recent bombings in Iran, Iran has made a point to say they will be targeting any American or anybody in the region that they can get their missiles to hit, so to speak, or they can get their hands on. Should WWE maybe not cancel this show, but move it away from Saudi Arabia right now?
Probably.
I would say yes.
I mean, I don't know how close.
That would be wise.
I don't know how close Riyadh is to some military bases, but it may not matter if they can find a way to, if they just want to hurt people, which clearly, as we've seen in the news today, they've been retaliating against Israel by targeting more civilians, not military targets. So they're trying to hurt innocents.
There was a suicide bomber here today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez.
Well, somebody rammed a church.
Shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They rammed a church with a truck, and apparently a deacon ran the guy over. And then a security guard ended up killing him with his own gun, from what I heard. So nobody was hurt at the church outside of the gunman. But yeah, I didn't heard about the suicide bomber. But yeah, so this does beg the question: maybe they should try to find an emergency venue somewhere in the United States to run this show this week, because I highly doubt they'll cancel it outright. That's not usually WWE's MO. But to fill a stadium, or not a stadium, it would be a stadium in Riyadh's case, but an arena on a week's notice, that's kind of hard to do too. But there would be some fans. You give it to them at a discount or whatever, they'd probably show up. No doubt about it. It's a free show. I mean, hell, even make it free. I mean, WWE can afford it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Or should they just stick it out and go to Riyadh?
I don't know. I mean, for safety purposes.
I think the next 24 to 48 hours is going to be very telling, and they'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of online wrestling pundits had tried to contact WWE and question them about this, and as so far they've not to get any response yet. So I'm sure WWE's still trying to work it out at some way, but probably they're in the process. So we'll have to wait and see. Keep your eye on that. But either way, if the show does go off without a hitch, it appears that so far we've got 3 matches. We got 5 total scheduled, but let's go over the 3 we know about first.
Damn, these about to be some bangers.
Yeah, we got Dominic Mysterio defending his Intercontinental title against AJ Styles. What are your thoughts on that one first?
That's going to be a hell of a good man. Dom's work since he first showed up to where he is now, the change not only in character, but his wrestling ability also is bananas. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been a couple of years, but like he has really.
Wait a minute. Is that why Jada and Jackson both want mustaches?
Probably.
Yeah.
Which is technically the Eddie Guerrero mustache, not the Dominic Mysterio mustache.
But he's owning it though.
He is. He's making it work for him. And even over Father's Day weekend, I heard he visited Eddie Guerrero's gravesite.
He said he was going to take the Intercontinental title and up to Eddie's gravesite, and he did. He took a picture and stuff and put it up there, which was really cool. He posted pictures. Posted a picture of Eddie Guerrero, and it said the GOAT on it. It was Eddie and him when he was a kid, and Eddie was standing there with him, and they took a picture, and he goes, "The GOAT." I died on Father's Day. I said, "That's wild."
There. I don't know if I could find it real quick, but there's a photo. There's a photograph of Dominic Mysterio when he was young, being held by Trish Stratus on her hip, and they recreated it, and Dom's just in her arms, smiling from ear to ear. I was like, brother, that's messed up. So who do you think wins the match, Dominic
Dom.
or
Dom.
Dom?
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I love AJ. I do, and
it would only be his second Intercontinental run, from what I understand, too. I think.
Yeah, and I love
Good.
AJ. AJ should be in the world title picture soon. Again, but Dom, there's no way you take that belt off of Dom right now. Dom is killing it, and AJ will get his time or get his shot. But like to work with AJ though, man, Dominic. AJ,
I'm sure he'll learn a few things, no doubt about that.
Hell
yeah. Also, at Money in the Bank a couple weeks ago, Jacob Fatu officially turned on Solo Sikoa, and he yelled up at the ladder, "I hate you!" And he gives him, the big old kick and all that sort of stuff. So now it looks like he's going to be defending his United States Championship against Solo Sikoa. So this is a feud that's coming to come to a head with Jeff Cobb, and a lot of people are already saying that Hikuleo has been signed by WWE too. He's been I guess you're working out at the Performance Center and stuff. So could we see a debuting there? Jimmy Uso has also interjecting himself a little bit into this as well. So this has got some bloodline feel to it. How do you think this is going to go?
I don't know if he got signed yet, but there was some talk about him too.
I just want to point this out. I love watching Jacob Fatu wrestle.
Oh yeah, that's why they turned him babyface.
Must see TV.
For a guy his size,
he is a big.
But listen, let's stop sleeping on Solo. Solo's not a chumper.
Solo's good too.
And he deserves more respect, to be honest.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this one. This is legit family right here.
Yeah, that'll be a fun watch, no doubt about it. Mike said for the Solo versus Jacob match, I have to go with the Samoan in this one.
Yeah.
Way to go out on a limb there, brother. Just nailing it.
I guarantee a Samoan's going to win this match for sure.
No kidding, no doubt.
Yeah, someone Samoan will win that match.
Yeah, that's happening.
By the way, welcome to Aaron, who's in the podcast tonight. So
Aaron, what do you think about the two Samoans wrestling? Which you think a Samoan's going to win this one or no?
I mean, safe money is on it.
Safe, yeah. If I was a betting man, that's what I put my money.
Yeah, he'll chime in when he can, I guess. But anyway,
Speaking of Aaron, I want some watermelon.
Oh God,
Aaron brought the watermelon.
Yeah, the watermelon was good too.
Hey, watermelon's in season right now. That's a good time to get it. I think that's some good stuff right there.
We just bought one.
Yeah, we
had to get one.
Yeah, we just bought it.
Nice. And for the last match, we'll go ahead and go with Mike's prediction here. He said, Cena versus Punk. I'll predict the one whose wrestling last name is 4 letters in their name. We'll walk away. All right. Okay. But for real, to me, I think Cena wins. It continues the whole journey here. It's kind of a clear, no doubt about it. But what do you think of the match?
Yeah, it's going to be a good, again, these 3 matches alone are great. These 3 matches could be a WrestleMania situation. You get what I'm saying? You would watch all 3 of these at a WrestleMania.
Can't be worse than this year's WrestleMania.
That's true.
That's a little subtle shade there.
Was it that?
It was subtle. Half of WrestleMania was good. The other half was trash, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was some that was not good, but
there was some that was okay, like the women's triple threat.
Well, I mean, are they going to bring
that women's triple threat was a fucking banger.
That was good. Yeah, no doubt about it. EO deserved that too, by the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a pretty predictable card so far, but we'll see where it goes as well. But we also
hold on. I say predictable, but realistically,
also makes sense.
Realistically, though, Solo could beat Jacob, and it wouldn't be a bad deal.
No, I'd be fine with that. I just don't think they have the confidence in Solo yet.
No,
I should say, okay, WWE does because they let him run it for a while with the Bloodline, but the network didn't seem to think Solo was a draw. I disagree.
Crazy to me because Solo, I don't get that part. Solo was great even when Roman was gone, and again, we don't.
He's a silent enforcer type too. He's not.
Yeah,
biggest of.
We don't give Roman enough credit for what the pedestal that not only elevated himself to, but literally everybody involved in that story.
Yeah. Everybody else in the Bloodline, Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy, for that matter, and Solo, all that stuff.
I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. Is Solo's match for a title?
Yes, for the U.S. Championship. Yep. Jacob Fatu currently holds that title. So, yep.
Well, both of them are Samoan, but we're going for the United States title. That makes sense.
Oh, brother.
They live in the United States. Both.
Yeah, it's all good, Matt.
They're actually born in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Now, also on this Night of Champions show, The finals of the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments will also take place. Randy Orton is already in the finals. He will face the winner of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso this Monday Night on Raw. Who wins this match and who faces Randy, and then who wins the finals?
Cody.
You think Cody's going to go after Cena already at SummerSlam?
Cody versus Randy.
Oh, that's gonna be a hell of a match.
Big ticket. But also Jay versus Randy is also a big ticket.
Yeah.
God
I
damn.
bet it's Jay.
I would love to be Jay, honestly.
Yeah. Whoever's going to get is going to get. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be Cena. It could be Gunther, I guess, at SummerSlam, but they get a world title shot, I think, is the way it goes now. So either way.
Has Jay and Randy ever had a really big match together?
No, not a one-on-one.
Not that I can think of.
Not a big match, no. And you got to think about it too. There's still storyline implications behind that with the whole bloodline thing, because he still hasn't exacted his revenge on every member of the bloodline. Because at that time, Jay got moved to Raw and was face. When Randy came back.
It's also interesting to note that this week on SmackDown, there was an encounter where Cody Rhodes and CM Punk saw each other backstage, and Cody even kind of mentioned that, well, we can't avoid each other forever. So it sounds like there's even a possibility that CM Punk could either win the title from Cena and go against Cody, or they could do a triple threat match, Cena, Cody, and Punk at SummerSlam. That could be a thing, possibly. But, I mean, like we said, Jey Uso could win the King of the Ring. I think Randy Orton's probably the one on the out here. I don't necessarily. I mean, you could do it. Maybe even make it a fatal 4-way or something. I don't know.
Shit, that'd be good. But at SummerSlam,
or a fatal 5-way, you put Punk in there. I don't know. You could.
I got a great job for CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to hold the boom mic during the Raw, and just sit there and hold it. He'd be the sound guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you like?
Or just not come.
Or just not show up at all.
Yeah,
Sierra don't like Cody at all.
You don't like Cody at all.
No, I'm not saying. I didn't say Cody.
Not into that Homelander stuff, huh?
Your wife did.
Yeah.
Wife don't like Cody. I don't know, man. This could go either way for me, but I would love for it to be Jay because I would love to see him and Orton go at it.
Yeah, it could be fun, no doubt about it. Well, moving things along a little bit though. Here, we got the what?
Asuka's back.
Oh yeah, Asuka's back. She's been back for about, I don't know, a week or so.
Yeah.
But she's officially advanced to the finals of the Queen of the Ring. Now she's going to face the winner of Jade Cargill and Roxanne Perez. Now we were talking earlier about how Roxanne Perez is kind of maybe going to step up in lieu of Liv Morgan's injury. Could Roxanne Perez be the one? Because I got a theory. I think that we we'll see. At least my theory is Bianca Belair is going to cost Jade Cargill this match. We've not seen Bianca Belair for a minute. I don't know if she's hurt. I don't think she is. If she's not, what if she's finally revealed as the mastermind behind all this? Cost her the match against Roxanne versus Asuka, and Roxanne ends up winning to again kind of build her push here and maybe even getting a women's world championship. I don't know if she's ready to win a title against like Io Sky, but if she were to win the women's championship, again, Liv Morgan and her, when that ends up happening, could be for the women's world championship.
Now I think your money's in Asuka versus Io.
It could be, yeah. Well, the whole, what was the name? Damage control thing. Yeah, you're right. That could be a thing too. So, but are you ready to give her the world championship match right after coming back? I mean, you could. Awesome, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways this could go. And don't get me wrong. And Jade Cargill's someone they've been wanting to annoy for a while. Yeah. I don't know if they want to give her the Queen of the Ring. I mean, you could. I think she could do well with the gimmick or whatever, the Queen thing. But and then maybe she challenges Timmy Stratton.
Yeah. And then that would also motivate Bianca to go after Jade if Jade gets the title.
Mm-hmm. Could. I mean, I just don't know where this Bianca thing is going to end up at some point. Like I said, it's been a while since I've seen her. So I don't know if there's an injury there. And if not, maybe there's a reason because they want it to be a big surprise whenever she does pop up. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. But you thinking Asuka? I want to go with Perez just because unless they decide to kind of, just kind of let her do the tag team.
She do the tag team thing with Liv.
That may be enough. That may be enough. So yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of intriguing though. I like it though because there's so many ways it could go and you don't quite know. So in that regard, I think they booked that one pretty well. All things, of course, the injury kind of threw a wrench in it, but yeah. So
but then, if you bring back Asuka, do you want her to lose to Jade afterwards, or would you rather her? Because you do want to beat Jade, or you want to beat Asuka. So Then if you do, the angle where Bianca interferes in the semifinal, which causes her to lose, then Perez could lose to Asuka just fine. Not saying Perez she's trash or anything, because she's not.
Oh,
she's
absolutely.
One of the,
it's her first year on the main roster, though. So
yeah,
had a great showing in the Royal Rumble. Has had some good success, but yeah.
Asuka could beat her just fine.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but I'm intrigued by it, no doubt about it. Sierra in the chat said it's rigged. Don't even get me started. Just because you basically own the joint doesn't mean you deserve the status you have. If you're talking about Cody, he doesn't own WWE. It's not AEW. But yeah, I can see your point maybe there a little bit. But
that too. But no, like Cody is one of those. Cody's best as a face when he's chasing after the title, not necessarily when he holds the title, because the lackluster wears off fast with him. I don't know why.
It does with him.
I don't know why that is. I don't know, why it works out the way it does when he's champion, but that's what it feels like. Cody's, like I said, he's best when he's chasing the title. That's when so for him to win it again, especially so soon after, I don't think is the play. I think you have him chase it till you get a worthy, more staying heel that he could chase for that title, like Roman was. But I don't know if you're going to get somebody to be what Roman became. Like, I don't know. If that's
Cody and Gunther is intriguing to me. I just like Gunther, but there's some people who don't think,
So if he doesn't go after the title on the one that Cena has, then yes, maybe him and Gunther is the payoff there.
Well, it's kind of hard to keep track because last week we had multiple run-ins from people on different shows. I was like, well, there goes the brand split.
Yeah.
Which is we've known for a while. But yeah, please don't do a draft. And I think by now they would have already done it this year. So hopefully that means they decide to scrap that. So that's good. Mike said in the chat, if Goldberg gets a title shot having done nothing, then Asuka should get a shot for coming back and actually having some matches. So fair. At least she is wrestling, so there is that. I'll give her that. Like, she will be winning the tournament if that's the case.
And it's Asuka, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a hard time breezing past the U. So like, I always say Asuka, but it's
kill me
Asuka.
every time you say her name. I'm like, where's the I?
I have to act like there's no U there. Just say Asuka. So, Asuka. There we go. On the other company, real quick before we move on out of wrestling, we obviously got Omega versus Okada 5, and they officially obviously got a long-standing rivalry between these two guys. We've documented a few times here on the show, 4 matches prior in New Japan and elsewhere. But this last week on AEW, they had their official contract signing, and if you know anything about pro wrestling and contract signings, they usually do not end with just simply signing on the dotted line. And of course, this was no different here. But before they signed the dotted line, they introduced the new AEW Unified Championship, because this match is winner take all. And Kenny Omega is defending the International Championship, while Kazuchika Okada is defending the Continental Championship. So they're going to be unifying that belt into the new Unified Championship belt. And overall, I think the belt looks pretty cool. It's got that AEW. Yeah, the name's kind of, I agree with you on that. The name's kind of like, okay, maybe you could have come up with something better.
Intercontinental. Like,
yeah, well, I guess there's two of
the rights to the word Intercontinental.
True, and it would actually make sense because you got the International and the Continental. It would make sense to put it together. But I guess they were just kind of afraid of maybe people blaming and saying they're going to copy it. But you're right, they don't have the rights to it as far as I know. So yeah. However, I will say I think the plates on this is really cool. It's got Kenny Omega doing the one-winged angel on one side, and you got Kazuchika Okada doing the Rainmaker on the other. So I think that's really cool. So whoever has it is going to obviously have the lineage of both titles and the guys who held the title last.
Well, why are we making like 50 belts?
Well, see, this is the thing, though, Matt. They have 2 belts right now. They're consolidating it into one. So they're actually reducing the titles here.
Because they're making room for the women's tag belts. And I'm telling you, the pictures are coming. Like,
they should at this point, I think, for AEW.
The trios titles, because they've become useless. Stick to tag titles. If you're going to introduce women's titles, fine. You're unifying 2 titles. That's fine. I understand. Well, I understand / don't understand why they have a World Cup title when it's only defended and you only see it that one time and they give it back. That should be something they should keep.
Yeah.
And have to defend, not only in the tournament, but in general.
Well, that's the thing that's going to be interesting to me. Is going to be like, what do they do with this title come Continental Classic time? Is it going to be what you defended in that tournament like the old title was, and then the international title part of it you just defend it the rest of the year like they're currently doing? How's that going to work?
I would hope so, because that makes sense. But change the name. I hate that. I don't.
Yeah, I hear you. Mike said, in my opinion, calling it just the Unified Championship, it almost makes it sound more important than the AEW World Title. In a way, yeah, because it's like the undisputed, champion. Yeah, I can see that to some degree. So yeah, maybe you got to workshop that a little bit and just kind of.
And think about this too. And I hate to say this, but like, in a sense, you haven't seen the AEW World Title in forever. It's been in a fucking briefcase.
It's coming out July 12th. I got a feeling.
If he loses or if he wins, if he retains, this will be your most important title.
Oh yeah, I mean you've got to get that title out of the briefcase. You've been set.
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think Hangman's going to do it, huh?
Nope.
Oh, well, okay.
It depends. If this is your last match, if Okada and Omega is your last match, no.
No. Well, yeah, how would you do that? Would you put the world title on last, or would you put this on last?
If the world title match isn't on last, and this is your last match,
yeah, it adds to Mike's point. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I you have to if you pull that if the title goes on last, the title's coming out of the briefcase. It has to.
Yes, Hangman's winning. If that match doesn't go last, Hangman is not winning that match.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you. And not only that, it's going to be hard for that title match to follow this anyway. So that's a tough one.
And Hangman, you send the crowd home happy. That's every wrestling show. So like, if Hangman is losing that match and they truly are waiting for Darby to come back,
right,
then we're fucked, because Moxley's going to retain, and then this will be your main event.
In a way, it kind of sucks too, because you'll kind of know the ending by the time some of these match order rolls out, which kind of stinks. But unfortunately, sometimes you can't avoid that. It's just kind of the way it goes. But this contract signing obviously ended in chaos as Kazuchika Okada, joined forces with Don Callis and attacked.
That's another thing. Hold on. Time out. Sorry. Why has Don Callis' family become this catch-all for all these fucking people? Like, legitimately, he was in the elite, right?
It's kind of like the old Heenan family. That's the way I look at it.
But he was in the elite already. Like,
well, not now.
They should have been all over this.
Because I do believe he officially joined Callis on Collision, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen it yet, but pretty sure. I think I don't know. Maybe they think Okada needs a bit more of a mouthpiece to some degree. I can see that. Some respects.
But the Bucks could have served that purpose.
That
was their original purpose.
But the Bucks, for whatever reason, take more time off than actually show up sometime nowadays. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But either way.
It's hard to build your wrestling brand when you don't ever show up to wrestle.
Well, I mean, they've done some time.
Tag team like
mix. Yeah,
for
sure.
In the tag team mix. Like, I don't understand this part either. Like, I don't get that part.
Well, for good or worse, this drew some controversy because obviously Okada did some shots to Kenny Omega's gut, and Kenny Omega obviously had a well-known case of diverticulitis, almost killed him. So they're playing on the fact that he's maybe still not fully recovered from that, surgeries and stuff he had, where he had his intestines removed. He was obviously coughing up fake blood at the end of this storyline here to kind of give it a bit more gravitas and make it more personal. So in that regard, I like that. They're making it a little bit more personal, I guess is about the best word you could use for that. So I like them taking that and pushing the envelope there, but obviously it's going to draw some ire because of the bloody nature of it. Some wrestling fans don't like that sort of thing, but at this point, if you're watching AEW, you should kind of expect that at this point. That's part of AEW's MO. So what are your thoughts on the Omega Okada match? Do you like this part of it?
No?
I
feel like this was, I guess you could have gotten the result you wanted without all the excessiveness, but at the same time, like, all the other matches they had didn't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't need any of that. Sure. I mean, is it going to be a good match? Sure.
Oh yeah.
Is it going to be what we saw at Wrestle Kingdom 11? No.
Well, they're older now. Yeah. I mean,
it'll still be good, but that's the thing. But that's what they're banking on, people's memory of those matches. And
True.
Yes, those matches were great. 100%. They really were. Like, they're not, 30 minutes. The one we watched was 45. Like, they've had 4 banger fucking matches. And I've seen all 4 of them. And it didn't need a build like this. But playing off of Kenny's injury, I get the whole worrisome behind it, but
well, they did some things similar to that with Brock Lesnar when he had his diverticulitis too. So I mean, this is not unprecedented. But I mean, they're just playing. Kenny's fine. Don't need to worry. But at the same time, I just hope it lives up to the billing. That's what I hope. And so far, neither guy's really shown me that they can't do it. It's been a while since they have done it, so we'll see if they can still kind of get that magic and capture lightning in a bottle again. But I'm looking forward to it still. So
I would love to see the Okada we should have got when he showed up. Like the first 2 times when he showed up and interfered, like the mystique and the aura that he had. That's before he actually signed with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he signed, he got turned into a dude who just says the word bitch, which is funny.
Which I ain't gonna lie to you, the way he does the middle finger and he says that one night when he I think he cut somebody's microphone off in the back and he was sitting there tapping like buttons. He's like, "Oh no, sorry, I hit wrong button." And then he goes, "I'm so sorry." And he goes, "Beach." That's hilarious. I died. I was like, "This is hilarious."
That's hilarious. You're correct.
This is the way he was tapping it, going, "I hit wrong button."
But like, we haven't seen like the Rainmaker Okada that we had. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's getting better though. I don't know when's the last time you've been keeping up with the product, but
it's been.
Have you been? Okay. Well, I just know lately I think his matches have been better. I don't know what it is.
It's not his matches. It's not his matches. His matches are fine. Like, I have no issue with
the aura type.
My favorite.
It's not New Japan. I think that's part of it. New Japan's got.
When the coins dropped and his music hit, like you were like,
they still pop.
What the fucking? This is fucking. The Rainmaker. You know what I mean? Like. He turned it clothesline into a finisher. Like, let's be honest.
I know, right? I mean, let's give credit to guys who take it though. They sell pretty well too. So, but yeah, so I'm looking forward to the match. No doubt.
Still has one of the prettiest drop kicks in the business.
Oh, no doubt about it.
For a guy that tall, the way he's completely straight, like a fucking arrow every time.
Every time. Oh, Mike had a few here. He said, little fun fact, in December 1988, AWA champion Jerry Lawler defeated world-class champ Kerry Von Erich to create their own unified world title. However, Vern Gagne stiffed Lawler and several other, including world-class, on their payouts, so Lawler left with the AWA belt, which he still has to this day, and the unified title remains around in name only in Memphis, and the USWA even thought nothing was unified anymore. Dutch Mantel, a.k.a. Zeb Coulter in WWE, would be the last champion when the USWA closed in 1997. So our fun facts and trivia.
Heard about something like that.
Yeah,
I was on this podcast I was listening to.
Coming through for us in a clutch there, no doubt about it. All right, well, I think that'll do it for pro wrestling tonight. Any other thoughts on the world of WWE and AEW before we move on?
Nobody died.
Sucks and
nobody died.
Yeah, please. Yeah, if you go to Saudi Arabia, be careful. For sure, I'll say that.
Injuries and let's go.
Yeah, nobody die in the matches too. Obviously, for sure, no doubt about it. So yeah, all right.
Goldberg sucks and wrestling. Okay, move on.
You tell him that.
I just happened to see the Pacers score.
I'm sure it's not good.
Are we talking about that?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it in the sports section, but we can talk about it a little bit now if you want to.
Is it bad?
I'm just asking.
Is it bad?
Well, it's in the fourth, and last time, from what I see here, they're in the fourth, and Oklahoma has got a 23-point lead. Nope, 13. Sorry, my math is wrong. It depends how much time's left, but it's only 13.
It's over.
1 minute left, 13 points.
Yeah,
it would have to be another one of those miraculous Pacer comebacks. Unfortunately, with what happened to Tyrese Halliburton, that was probably where the game ended, even though it was close going into the third. I heard the third. Yeah, the Thunder had a 14-point better run there than
freaking sucks.
So it sucks, but at the same time, it's not unexpected if you lose potentially your best player. So yeah, I mean, not only that, it was not going to be easy. I had a bunch of which let's just go ahead and talk about it now real quick. I had a bunch of stats pulled about how like the NBA Finals have had like 19 Game 7s, 15 of which have all been won by the home team. So only 4 teams have won on the road. So this is already an uphill battle for the Pacers. Yeah, so it just kind of sucks. But yeah, that's kind of the way it's going to be going here. Now, since we're already talking about it, we'll go ahead and skip to the sports section here. Let's just go ahead and do that.
Bummed Tuesday morning when I see him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, yeah. So since that game's pretty much coming to a close, unless the Pacers pull off something miraculous, this game's pretty much over. This whole thing pretty much was over about the time that Tyrese Halliburton, and I think it's been confirmed now by his father, went and you can see this on his right leg. What happens to him here is essentially the exact same thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets a couple years ago when he tore his Achilles. You can see it pop and it looks like it shoots up his leg. It's right there. It'll poor guy goes down. And of course, he's been playing with a strained right calf for a while, which can put extra pressure on other, joints and ligaments and muscles in your leg. So when it goes right again, it goes right there. You can see it. So it's
get no better.
Yeah, he goes down. He just says no,
and he knows immediately what happened to him. So our thoughts and prayers are with Tyrese Halliburton. In pain, and obviously, he knows it's Game 7, the importance of this championship game, and
it's over. It's not.
The Pacers were never meant to be here right now.
No,
everybody had them pegged to lose in round 1, and they beat 3 other teams, high caliber teams at that, and they finally got to this point and forced a Game 7 last. What was it? Thursday night?
No shame.
No, not whatsoever. The Pacers should hold their head up high. Assuming they don't come back. I mean, I'm not saying it's over because these Pacers have come back, but they've usually had Tyrese too, and now they don't have that. But no, as Mike said, have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Went farther than a lot predicted. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no shame in where they're at right now.
And kudos to SGA there, reaching down, trying to console Halliburton too. So good sportsmanship from the Thunder. So
it's you're at that moment where you just got your dream practically ripped away from you.
Yeah.
And it's just really frustrating on Halliburton's side. And it's frustrating for Indiana. I mean, Game 4 is going to haunt us for a long time.
Yeah, we could have wrapped it up in Game 4, but they kind of let that go. Now they did come back with a dominant win in Game 6, but at that point you've already lost home field advantage that you won in Game 1. And unfortunately, it was going to be a rough hill to climb in Oklahoma City, no matter what they did, even if Halliburton was healthy. But it's a shame too, because before Halliburton went down in the first quarter, he was dropping 3-pointers like it was nothing. He was having a great night early on, and about I don't know how long it was, maybe 7, 8, 10 minutes into the game, he popped it. It's just a shame, man. So we'll keep an eye on the score, but I'm assuming this is probably close to being over. 19 seconds left. The Thunder are ahead by 12, so it's pretty well over. So it's a shame. I mean, congrats to the Oklahoma City Thunder on their NBA championship victory, but that's a tough road. It really is. I don't know what else to say about it.
You get where nobody said you could be. And then you prove them all wrong. You get there. Yeah, you're right. They could have locked it up Game 4, but Thunder wanted it.
And if this was the regular season, Tyrese Halliburton would have rested that calf up and been maybe ready to come. But they were already in the midst of a deep playoff run. You can't bench the guy for very long, if at all, because he is your best player, in my opinion. So they got a lot of good players, but
you did there.
So kudos to him for trying to tough it out.
Jasper, are you kidding me?
Brother.
Oh my God.
Establish dominance in your house, Matt. God.
Shit my gaming room.
Yeah. Well, see,
dude, that sucks. I feel for him. That's
and Mike makes what I was about ready to say here. He brings up the good point. He'll most likely be out all next season too because of this, because it's so late in the year. The Achilles are about a year-long recovery, so he's not going to play next year either for the most part. If he does, it's going to be late.
Jason Tatum's out too.
Jason Tatum for Boston will be out too. So 2 of the NBA's young big stars are out already next year. So that sucks. That sucks even worse. So now the Pacers, as good as they were this year, and who knows, Pacers or in all teams, players come and go. Who knows what the Pacers team is going to look like in 2 years or so when Halliburton comes back completely healthy. So it just sucks.
Again, you did the impossible. Nobody thought you were going to be to where you were. You guys played your ass off to get there, and you're like, this is it. This is our chance to prove everybody wrong, and you have all that shit riding on you, and then that happens. Look, God works in mysterious ways. Far be it for me to judge who he did, but
It's just one of those things where he rode the injury so long, and eventually it just went.
Just gives out, and
it's
part of it, and it sucks.
Yeah,
It happens, but it does
far.
happen.
Yeah, so I'm
Until
hoping
they
the Pacers will one day
push
get there, but it's just a shame. And let's double check, make sure it is the final before we move. Yeah, it's the final. 105 to or 103 or 105. Didn't refresh there. Okay, 103 to 91 is the final. Oklahoma City wins.
Damn.
So congrats to them. And that's another team. Oklahoma City Thunder. They're the team that used to be the Seattle
Supersonics. Yep.
Okay, I couldn't remember for sure, but yeah, this is their first championship in Oklahoma City. So
yes,
for them there.
It is also the only franchise to actually have no name apart from the Pacers.
Have no what?
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 They're no name franchise.
Oh, well, very small market for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it. But thoughts and prayers to Tyrese. Congrats to the Thunder, and I guess we can just leave it at that.
Yeah,
but one other thing in sports I did want to cover real quick is it was announced this week that the Indianapolis Colts will be inducting their owner, who sadly passed away, Jim Irsay, into the Ring of Honor. They'll be inducting him in the Ring of Honor week 1, prior to their week 1 opener against the Miami Dolphins. So
yeah, go Tyreek Hill.
Great.
Jesus Christ. I hate
man.
You, man. I really do.
Here you are wearing this Colts shirt again.
I know. Again. Listen, Matt, I don't want you to cheer for the Colts at all. Okay.
No.
He got flack for wearing that shirt at work this week too. Don't worry. We gave it to him.
I don't want.
Hey, if we're going to talk about jinxing the teams, Eric's saying maybe if I don't watch, they'll win.
Yeah.
Last night.
But usually when I don't watch, the Pacers do better. So, I didn't watch this game. I mean, I kept up with a little bit on.
See, that's the problem. You should have been spying.
Well, I was trying to keep up with it so I knew what to talk about for the show. I had no choice. So, I mean, I guess I could have went into it blind, be like, how's it going? Oh, Tyrese blew his leg out, live on the show. But I didn't want, I at least wanted to have that ready to go. I got a show prep, man. I try to keep this as up to date as possible when we go live. So, but yeah, that sucks. But at the same time, good to see the Colts honoring Jim Irsay here. No doubt about it. I'm sure they're going to wear JI on their helmets probably this year too.
I think didn't they have patches or some shit that they were going to put on the jerseys?
I'm sure something. They're probably maybe like a commemorative for his. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure
I think they're supposed to wear it all. They're going to have them on there all season.
All season. Yeah, but that's usually the way these teams do these things. So looking forward to see that. Hopefully they can win something big for him too. That'd be great. But
that'd be nice.
We'll see. But that's about all the sports I really had for the week. So yeah. So any other thoughts on the Pacers or the Colts?
Nope.
I'm sad for the Pacers, even though I don't like basketball like that. I was thoroughly intrigued by this whole run.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was fun to watch.
Have it end the way it ended. I mean, if Halliburton was in the game and they still lost, kudos. But to have him go out within the first quarter,
I think that's a big reason why they lost that game.
That sucks.
Well, it's always going to be in the back of their minds too. Like, what if? What had he? What if? You know what I mean? That sucks. It really does.
Not what if. They scored 91 points there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot. Mike said in chat.
It doesn't take more to. It's not just Halliburton.
Well, of course not. But he's a big piece of the game plan for sure.
And a lot of those players on that Pacers team are coming back. So
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. By the way, Mike said in the chat, apparently if indeed Seattle does get an NBA team in expansion, they will again be the Sonics, and the Thunder have agreed to give back all the Sonics records and history.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming the Sonics can't claim the Thunder's championship then.
No.
But they can kind of.
No. Any record of the Seahawks or Seattle Sonics that is before they expanded to Oklahoma City will go back to.
So every I see what you say. So everything after Oklahoma City is theirs, but everything before goes back. I got you.
Correct.
Okay, well that's fair. I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not. So that'd be cool. I think the Seattle, Supersonics. I always liked them as a kid too. I don't know why.
They were a cool team.
Had nothing against Seattle Supersonics too. So, all right. Well, since Brandon's out here real quick, we'll go ahead and move into the movie section a little bit. We'll discuss a few things there, and I'd like to get his thoughts on a few of them. So hopefully he's not gone too long, but we'll see. All right, let's do that real quick here. Here we go. If I can find it. All right, a bit of movie news this week, and of course, I want to start things out with a little bit of DC talk. We got some Marvel and DC tonight, as a matter of fact. There's always seems to be movie news and TV show news when it comes to these two long-running franchises here. But James Gunn, who's been making the rounds doing interviews for the upcoming Superman film, apparently did an interview with Rolling Stone that'll be coming out in their July-August issue, and I guess he was talking a lot about what's coming down the pipe here for DC Studios and the new DCU. And apparently he announced that they are currently making a new Wonder Woman film. And this is going to be separate from their Paradise Lost television series coming up. But he officially broke the news that Wonder Woman will be getting another solo film. This is not going to be starring Gal Gadot. It's going to be a whole new actress taking on the role, and it's going to be in their new universe that they got building up here. And they're also working on the scripts for both that movie and an upcoming Batman film, both of which are being written now. Obviously, the plan as of late has been that Batman Brave and the Bold will be the next Batman film to come out, but we don't know exactly if that's going to be the title yet or not now. But Batman and Wonder Woman films are currently being written, and they say it is their biggest priority at DC Studios right now to get those two characters correct after they've already got Superman ready to roll. So obviously the Trinity. What's that?
More bad news about Robert Pattinson, I'm taking.
Well, I'm going to talk about Robert Pattinson here. He also discussed a little bit about that as well. He said the Batman 2 is not canceled. He said it's still coming. They apparently plan to shoot this movie in January of next year, ready for their October 2027 release date. So it's still a good 2 years away. But he said that Pattinson will not be the DCU Batman. So it will stand alone on its own as it currently does with the Penguin television series as well. But here's the thing, though. We're going to talk about Clayface in just a second, and I'm going to bring this up again. But I don't know if I believe him here when it comes to it being separate. And I'll tell you why here in just a second. But as of right now, he said Pattinson will not be the DCU Batman. He said, actually, the DCU Batman will not be campy either. It will be a serious Batman. Will not be telling jokes like the 1960s or Val Kilmer or George Clooney version where it was all campy. This will be a serious Batman. He said he has no interest in seeing a campy Batman because to me the comedy when it comes to Batman, like in the old animated series stuff, is the serious Batman having to play off all these goofy characters in the DC world, like the Green Lanterns or or the Superman or whatever it might be. They're the ones who kind of bring the comedy, and Batman's just a straight serious guy. That's what makes Batman funny. In those, I think that's how you approach it here. And I think he's on the right track if that's what they end up doing. So I'm definitely happy to see that. And as of right now, we have no casting news on Batman as of yet. He was also asked about a Superman sequel. He said, currently what I'm working on is in some way, yes, but it isn't a straight Superman sequel. He said, I would not say necessarily. Is there anything more that you can say about the mystery project? He was asked. He said, well, I'll leave saying I'm going to direct something till I'm actually done with the screenplay. He says, yeah, I want to do this, but it's probably what I will direct. Yeah, probably. It's totally going to be realistic. Yes, probably. So I think him saying it's not a straight up Superman sequel means that it could potentially be World's Finest, as we've kind of alluded to here a little bit. I have a theory that we may see the new DCU Batman at the end of Superman in a post-credit scene, like a tease to what's to come, potentially. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I'm getting somebody's feedback. Sounds like someone's got a fan blowing on them. I don't know, but anyway, I'm just letting you know. So anyway, but yeah, sounds like he's writing something. He's not willing to tell us what it is. It's a secret project, but I think that's what this is. I think it's the new upcoming World's Finest. We'll have to wait and see. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow still set to release in 2026 in July of next year, I believe, June or July, and it has officially now been titled Supergirl. It was titled Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. They've officially changed the title to just Supergirl. It's kind of like what they did with Superman, and I'm sure they'll probably do with Batman at some point too. As for Clayface, also coming out 2026, now has the lead actor who will be playing Clayface in the film, and that is Tom Rhys Harries. He's a bit of an unknown for me, but he's a British actor, and he's kind of got this really unique jawline. I think will actually work very well with the character here. I think this look is more kind of what you can kind of expect in the film, something of this along this sort of lines, and he'll be getting those shape-shifting superpowers. And the reason why I want to bring up the Batman 2 again is because when James Gunn talked about this, he said that he and Matt Reeves looked at this guy and liked the casting for him as Clayface. But if Batman 2 and Robert Pattinson are separate from the DCU, why does Matt Reeves' input matter for Clayface if Clayface is set in the DCU? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So either this Clayface is with Matt Reeves and the Pattinson Batman, or he's lying about Pattinson, and Pattinson will be the DCU Batman.
That's what I think.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And I don't know how I feel about it. I kind of want
because I don't really see Robert Pattinson, whatever his name is, Batman being campy.
Well, this one won't be campy, but to playing in the fantastical world, I don't see Pattinson's Batman doing that. I agree with
not?
you. I just don't know if because that movie was so down to earth. You know, I just would rather see a different Batman, still serious, but that can actually work better in a fantastical world. So I don't know. That's just kind of the way I see it.
Ben Affleck was serious as Batman.
But if Pattinson is the Batman of the DCU, I will get on board with it at some point. It just may take a little bit of convincing. That's just, I don't know. I've gone back and forth on it a little bit for sure. But yeah.
Okay.
Also, James Gunn continued to talk about Marvel's downfall a little bit over the last few years. Says that the downturn has been due to movies being made without the screenplay being complete before they shoot the film, which I've heard of many times. Like the original Iron Man, like they had a semblance of a script and they kind of made some of it up as they went along, which has worked well for the MCU over the years, kind of, doing things on the fly a little bit. But he feels like that's part of the reason why they've had a downward problem. Star Wars had that problem with the sequel trilogy too. They started to write the sequel trilogy and then they didn't end up finishing that, screenplay and script. And look how episodes 8 and 9 turned out. A lot of fans didn't like that. So maybe it's a good idea, according to James Gunn, to have the entire story done before you start shooting. Maybe that's a good idea. He also says the problem was Disney's push for too much content from Marvel. But I don't know if the quantity was the issue. It was the quality they were putting out. That's just me personally. But it did also help that Disney kept injecting woke and political ideologies are also a big reason why Marvel was struggling too. So, yeah.
We'll talk about those woke and political strategy ideology.
Well, something. But anyway, yeah.
Steve.
I'm not. Are you a fan of him? Stop, bro. Like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, and he also said that to wrap this up here, that DC and Marvel crossover could easily happen, quote unquote. He thinks that I think personally that DC needs to get its universe established first, and Marvel needs to get its universe rebooted. But I could see this happening sometime in the next decade, a Marvel versus DC film, because when he was with Marvel, he said they talked about it 1 billion times. So. Thoughts on all of this? What's the thing that jumps out at you the most? And would you want to see a DC Marvel crossover?
Yes, if Robert Pattinson's Batman's in it, and if they bring back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. All right, move. That's where he's biting stuff that's supposed to.
Ankle biter. But anyway, yeah. So
yeah. If done right, I would like to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts about the Batman 2, Wonder Woman movie, Clayface, all this stuff?
My concerns have always been with DC, because I'm a DC fan more so than I'm a Marvel fan. I just want them to get it right. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
They'll get it right, Brandon. Just be patient.
I think they're on the right track with Superman coming out.
Yes.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that goes. If you nailed that, I think you're on the right track.
I'm optimistic about Superman.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's tracking a little less than what it was originally tracking, but it's still tracking to have a good 120, 135 million opening weekend, which was a very good thing for them if that is the case.
Why did they take the hit?
Well, I think it was just maybe a little too soon, and they started to see pre-sales, and so we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes. It could be more, it could be less. We just have to wait and see. But
are you going to see the Superman movie?
Me?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll probably see it multiple times if it's good.
They've already got it advertised for the Linton Cinema. So.
I've already got one of my tickets for AMC, but yeah, I'm willing to go to Linton if you guys want to go sometime. So definitely let me know. But I'll be seeing it during the week I'm off of work. I'm going to take a little time off for myself. So that'll be one of the things I get to enjoy doing. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Remember what happened last time you took time off for yourself, came back, and your foot was sore.
I was hoping this is the case for sure. But anyway, I haven't had time off in a while, so I'm gonna take a couple days.
Told you why. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got too much time. Idle hand makes for devil's work.
That's messed up, bro. Messed up. Terrible, fam. But Miranda just looked up like, for real? Yeah, like
you're muted, babe. Look, last time you came back. Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was muted. It's probably a good thing.
It's all good. I'll get him back sometime for the show.
Idle hands make for the devil's work. Man.
Yeah.
All right, what I said was like you should talk.
She did it for me. There we go. That's awesome. So that's what's coming up for DC. On the flip side of that, we've got some news coming out of Marvel as well. If I can pull it up here. All right, so it is official now. The Thunderbolts film is a flop, which sucks because it's actually a pretty fun film. It's one of the better movies that I think Marvel's put out over the last few years, outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, which was amazing. But Captain America: Brave New World, and there's been some others, not so good films. But this is it only made, I think, a total of $390 million at the worldwide box office, which is not good for Marvel standards. Now, for a lot,
you hear what you just said? 300.
I know, I know. For movie in general, that's pretty good. But for Marvel, it's on the lower end of things. But I mean, I'm not even sure I'm sure it made back its budget. I thought, but I couldn't be wrong.
The Eternals, I can't believe made as much money as it did.
Yeah,
they were touting that as like an Oscar-worthy movie. That movie was not good in my opinion. Black Widow, of course, this was during the height of the pandemic. Only made 379, and then of course your other stinkers were kind of like the Marvels at 206, Thunderbolts at 379. Now there's been some big hits in the multiverse saga though too. Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Love and Thunder was good.
A lot of people think Thor: Love and Thunder is garbage, but it made money.
I feel like ever since Endgame, Marvel really struggled.
Well, look at this though.
Endgame was like the big blow off. It's like what you would pay to see,
but they didn't recover.
Well, Matt, look here. Let me play devil's advocate here, though. Just looking at this list: Black Widow, Eternals. Okay, Marvels. You could say Quantumania was a bomb. Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts. But listen to this: Shang-Chi was good. It maybe didn't make a ton of money, but it was good. Spider-Man: No Way Home made a bunch of money. Outstanding. Multiverse of Madness was good. Bunch of money, almost $1 billion. Wakanda Forever, pretty good, almost $1 billion. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, almost $1 billion. Deadpool Wolverine, over $1 billion. So there is some good stuff here. I mean, it's been up, down, good, bad, alternating a little bit. TV shows the same way. It's just not consistent hit like the MCU started. But even before Endgame, they had some stinkers in there too. Ant-Man 2. Iron Man 3, a lot of people didn't care for it, made a bunch of money.
I enjoyed Iron Man 3, though.
Thor Dark World was considered to be trash before Thor Love and Thunder. And I have bits of all these movies I enjoy. So overall, it's a $9.3 billion multiverse saga so far. And once Doomsday and Secret War hits, it's going to be way more.
We're talking about like hundreds of millions of dollars made. I don't see how you're like, well, that's a shit movie. Like, it made, you know what I mean?
Money wise, yeah, exactly. It's like most movies in the world would kill to make 200 million. You know what I mean? So, like I said,
Deadpool made 1.3 is crazy work.
Yeah, Deadpool and Spider-Man: No Way Home are the Billies.
The reason why Spider-Man crushed it though is because like this is Spider-Man is a character that like everybody fucking knows Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a huge.
And it just proved the show like. You do Spider-Man correctly, and what we got with Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man.
She loves all versions of Spider-Man. She really likes the Tobey Maguire.
You know what I mean? Like, so but Deadpool, that character, the reason why it's because how much did the first movie make?
Deadpool? It wasn't that. I think Deadpool and Wolverine was the largest, but it made pretty good money for a.
But that's what I'm saying because Deadpool is still a character that, like not many people know, but they see the quips and they like, oh yeah, it's funny, whatever. But it's like. It's more than that. Deadpool is like that. What character that he's not kid friendly. Let's get that out the way. This ain't just superhero and spandex that you're like, oh yeah, kids can. No, that's not. But for it to make the money that it made is crazy.
Well, here's another interesting thought too. Most people look at the multiverse saga after Endgame as a bit of a bad idea, but consider this. The movies that made the most money and actually were probably the best of this bunch here, Deadpool and Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man: No Way Home, all of them were heavily involved with the multiverse and done correctly in those films, especially Deadpool and Wolverine and Spider-Man: No Way Home. So is the multiverse idea a bad thing, or is it just when you lean into it the right way, is it a very good thing? I think if Doomsday and Secret Wars can tap into that, I think they'll be just fine. And a part of me kind of hopes this lasts for a few more years and you kind of interweave some more of those movies. We'll see how that ends up going, which we'll talk about in just a second. But it has officially been announced that and kind of buried in a Variety article, so take it with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure this is an official announcement that the director of Thunderbolts, that like we just talked about, did not make the best money, but it was entertaining and a better Marvel film, has officially been tapped to direct the new X-Men reboot. So the question with that becomes, is that a good idea to tap him to do the next X-Men reboot that you're very much looking forward to getting correct? Like I said, Thunderbolts was a good movie, but it made no money. Well, not very, according to Marvel standards. So what do you think about that move, if that's the case?
I don't know. I think the appeal of and the reason why a lot of the movies were successful with Marvel is because you had the same director for a lot of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that worked because it was just his vision. You weren't branching out everywhere. I get it. You can't keep doing that because that's taxing.
Some directors want to move on and things like that too.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it's kind of like the director of Shang-Chi, Dustin Daniel Cretton. He is now directing the new Spider-Man film, so he's switched characters. Same thing here.
Shang-Chi was a great movie,
and it was, and he's now doing the new. Yeah,
the way it was paced out, the story was awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the guy who did the Spider-Man films has now moved on, and now he's taking over the Spider-Man movie right now. Hopefully, he'll come back to Shang-Chi too. But now this guy's moving from Thunderbolts to X-Men, another team. So at least a little experience there. So I don't know, maybe. But the lack of box office for Thunderbolts is what worries me here. It's not so much that the movie was bad.
I still feel like box office is one of those things that's going to start taking a hit more and more.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Streaming shit. Like,
so people just can't afford to go to movies nowadays.
Yeah, so you're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see huge numbers in box office like we did. Like I said, it was a dope experience to go see Endgame at a theater or at a drive-in. We went to the drive-in because everybody was locked in on that movie.
Oh yeah.
But the deal was those movies all built up to this moment. So like, of course, everybody who went on this fucking ride wanted to see how that shit ended. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that was like one of the last huge blockbuster hits as far as superhero movies go, with the exception of Deadpool, because again, Deadpool isn't your normal superhero movie.
And you just brought back Hugh Jackman. I mean, everybody loves you. You know, it's got to be the right circumstance.
Any nerd in the sense of comic books who knows the relationship between Deadpool and Wolverine wanted to see that shit play out on the big screen. You got a semblance of that, his relationship with him and Cable play out, so you wanted to see that on the big screen. So you saw that. So like, yeah, of course you want to see how him and Wolverine react. And that fight scene alone was worth it. Like between Deadpool. Like, that was everything you wanted, and in a
couple fight scenes,
but that original fight scene where they were standing off and like Wolverine gets down on all fours, like that was.
Don't disrespect the minivan fight scene too. That was dope too. Let's be honest. But to your point though, like a lot of these movies that made big money, like the Spider-Man No Way Home, you brought back Andrew Garfield, you had Tobey Maguire, all the old Spider-Man characters. It was the right set of circumstances that make that film what it is. So sometimes you're trying to manufacture it when it's more natural. It makes more, like with Robert Downey Jr. A lot of people were saying maybe that's kind of manufactured, but they're saying that the storyline with the new Victor Von Doom story can only be told by Robert Downey Jr. because it is going to tie in to the Iron Man stuff. So again, if it's more natural when it comes to Doomsday and Secret Wars, it could be outstanding. And don't get me wrong, I think those movies are going to make $1 billion. I really do, as long as they do it correctly. Now, when it comes to Spider-Man Brand New Day that is coming out in July of next year, we have some official casting announcements. Ned and MJ are both returning. Jacob Batalon and Zendaya will both be returning. We don't know how long they'll be in the film because obviously at the end of No Way Home, they lost their memory. They don't remember who Peter Parker is. But at the same time, we'll have to wait and see. But it makes sense they'll be coming back. So, but the big surprise that they officially announced that John Bernthal, his Punisher, will officially debut on the big screen in MCU in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that right there is intriguing because the Defender stuff on Netflix and the Daredevil and Punisher stuff has only been relegated to television so far. But now John Bernthal will be on the big screen.
I want to get Brandon's opinion on this. Garrick, I already know your opinion on it because we've talked about it at work. I'm not going to make this long. Brandon, what are your thoughts that you get Harry Osborn in this movie?
Well, we mentioned that one other time.
Well,
That's that.
so when I didn't know about the whole Ned and MJ. I mean, I figured they would be there, but remember we had this conversation before, not on the podcast, just us talking about them bringing back the other MJ, the red-haired chick.
Well, they've got a young actress named Sadie Sink who is redheaded, who could
That's
fit
what I'm
that bill.
saying.
So yeah,
because if Ned and this version of MJ aren't going to be in this film long, this would also it suits the point. You get what I'm saying? Like to where you could bring in, yes, Harry Osborn, you could start up Oscorp and all that shit. To where now it's getting into familiar territory of this version of Spider-Man. It's where you're gonna get. That's why we will see Rhino and Vulture and all these.
I believe Scorpion is coming back from the Spider-Man Homecoming as well. So
it makes sense.
The guy who becomes Scorpion. Maybe I'm not sure if the Shocker was recast or still in there or not. But yeah, I mean, and Michael Keaton's still in this universe as well as the Vulture. So we'll have to see if that ends up being a thing too. But this movie, with the addition of Punisher, does continue that tradition of the MCU Spider-Man having another major MCU character involved with the Spider-Man film, with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Nick Fury, Doctor Strange, and now Punisher. And if rumors are true, he's not been officially cast yet, but the rumor is that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk will also appear in this film. If that is the case, we have a potential for Mark Ruffalo's Hulk potentially being the antagonist, and Spider-Man, Punisher, and potentially Daredevil could be in this. Remember, Matt Murdock, played by Charlie Cox, played a small role as Spider-Man's lawyer in Spider-Man No Way Home, catching the brick that came through the window in the last film. So could we finally see these three street-level heroes team up to maybe have to take down a rampaging Hulk? And there's a potential that because the first season of Daredevil Born Again, that's now on Disney Plus, set up Wilson Fisk as the mayor of New York, and he has basically said that he is out against all vigilantes at this point in the city of New York. These are the three vigilantes in the city of New York right now. What if somehow Wilson Fisk's Kingpin is able to control the Hulk, and we have to see these three guys have to go up against the Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day? That seems to be the rumored plot point at this point.
None of them are making it. Nobody's making it out of that fight.
I don't know how they do it. Spider-Man's the strongest out of the three.
I agree with Brandon.
So I don't know how you'd pull that off, and who knows, maybe Punisher's more the anti-hero type situation in this. But maybe Spider-Man trying to corral
the anti-hero.
Right. But what I'm saying is maybe Spider-Man doesn't agree with his more, dark methods like Daredevil doesn't. Maybe Daredevil and Spider-Man have to take down Punisher. I don't know. But Punisher and Red, as he calls Daredevil in the series, it's got a better bit of a relationship. But Spider-Man and Punisher, not so much. So I don't know. I mean, all these are rumor at this point, but Punisher and Spider-Man are definitely in the same movie together. So thoughts on that potential big team up there and how this is potentially setting up?
It could work.
And maybe with Daredevil Born Again Season 2 coming out next spring, could be flat out a setup to this Spider-Man film coming out next July. So it makes a lot of sense that they're filming Daredevil Season 2 now. And I think Punisher is even getting a special presentation, a standalone Disney Plus movie type situation too.
I like bringing Punisher and Daredevil into Spider-Man because they have a lot to do with Spider-Man comics.
Well, yeah, they're all in New York and the whole...
And that's kind of been I've noticed that's been kind of the theme with Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man, is it's more of a comic style Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. And they have been setting him up the first three films to be able to do things on his own and kind of doing his own thing now. So I hope they don't stray away from that.
And I want to say up into Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Garfield's version of Spider-Man, I feel like, was the most comic book accurate.
And if Sierra's still watching, I do believe they will still bring back the other two Spider-Men in Doomsday or Secret Wars, but maybe not this film. But
I see Tobey Maguire coming back in Doomsday.
We'll get to Mike's here in just a second, Mike. But Sierra said you can't always keep everything the same with actors, etc. But when you mix the old with the new, you get all the fan bases coming together, and it keeps everyone intrigued. It's a good way to introduce the older generation to the newer movies. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think this is a little bit of a mix of that as well. And Spider-Man will continue on when we introduce new Spider-Man and like Miles Morales, things like that too. So, yeah, this is all great news in my opinion. But to see Punisher and Spider-Man on screen at the same time is going to be a lot of fun. But on top of that, they also announced a new MCU movie date of December 15th, 2028. So now that means in December, starting in 2026, the next 3 Decembers, 2026, 2027, 2028, we'll have a Marvel film. And right now, we've obviously got the first 2 Avengers films in the first 2 Decembers. So a lot of people were speculating whether or not December 2028 could be a 3rd Avengers film. As we've kind of speculated, maybe they draw this out a little bit and have like a big trilogy to end this saga. And maybe that could be Eternity Wars. We'll have to wait and see. But there's about 6 other untitled films. And right now they say that Marvel has it's about 6. So it makes a lot of sense. Films that they have in development. The X-Men reboot. Also, a Fantastic Four sequel is apparently already in the works. Blade, on top of Black Panther 3, which we may get introduced to our new T'Challa.
Still doing Blade?
Well, supposedly. We're going to find out. Otherwise, that joke in Deadpool and Wolverine is going to ring true. Also, Shang-Chi 2 and Doctor Strange 3 as well could tie into all this, too. So those seem to be the movies that we're going to be getting next, most likely. There's a World War Hulk movie that's kind of been rumored, but that seems to be where we're at right now. So, yeah, a lot of things coming down the line for Marvel. 2 movies next year, 2 in 2027, 4 in 2028, but I'm imagining one of those will probably move. But yeah, thoughts on all that?
Yeah.
I know it's a lot.
Why are we still doing this?
Hopefully, hopefully they do better. But like I feel like these next slate of movies should be the ones to really set the ground.
Just letting everybody know that Thor is not making out of 2 Avengers.
Well, there's rumors of Thor 5, but yes, there's also a lot of talk that Thor may have a grand send-off in one of the Avengers films too. But if it's between 2005 and 2028, if there is a 3rd Avengers film, maybe he dies in that last one, and it gives you plenty of time to make another Thor movie in there. There's only 2 films coming out 2026, 2027. You can fit another one in there 2027. So Thor may get a Thor 5 yet. We'll have to wait and see to kind of wrap up that Hercules storyline potentially too. So, but to Brandon's point, all the films that they've got lined up right now are not nobodies. It's Blade, Black Panther, Fantastic Four, X-Men. Shang-Chi is closest to the nobody, but he's already had 1 film, and Doctor Strange. So all these are heavy hitters. They're not relying on characters we've never heard of before. Mm-hmm. They're sticking to things that people are aware of now. So that's probably a smart strategy, if you ask me. So, other thoughts on Marvel?
Nope.
Yeah, moving on. All right, then. So looking forward to all that. So, yeah. A couple other things in the world of movies. I want to do a trailer reaction, which I know Mike was kind of... Well, before we do that, Mike did say something about this. He said for the group, he's trying to... A long debate. We ain't got time for tonight very much, but he said, what's the movie you absolutely loved or just really liked that everyone else or whatever reason absolutely hated? Batman Forever, for me, was that one. Batman Robin kind of degree, but I still like to see that director's cut of Batman Forever, but I don't know if we'll ever get it.
I don't think there's a movie that I genuinely liked that nobody else didn't.
It's hard to tell. There's a lot of comic book movies, like a lot of those we listed there, like the Marvels, that I actually enjoyed some of that stuff. But Fast and Furious. There you go. So, all right. Well, we got another trailer here.
Hey, conspiracy theory, real quick.
Sure.
So the other day, you know how they say some people are actually this person.
What do you mean,
Tupac's still alive.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Whatever.
Right.
So Tom Holman. Oh, what the hell's his name? I should have thought about this a little harder before I started. I've got the picture. Hold on.
Well, you're looking at that up. Mike said, sorry, Miranda, no comic book questions tonight to really drag it out. But if we didn't have to work tomorrow, it'd be one thing. But yeah, we still got
okay, so the guy that did Sound of Freedom, what's his name?
Oh, gosh, you'd have to ask.
The director. Or the...
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you his name off the top of my head.
I don't even have the damn picture now. I must have...
the director. All right, hold on.
Okay, here it is.
Director.
I'm just going to send these 2 pictures to the chat real quick.
Alejandro Gomez Monteverde? That guy?
No.
That's the director.
He was an actor in it. And
Jim Caviezel? That's the actor I'm thinking of, right? Okay, hold on. Let me find it. Oh, Paul Walker. Oh, that was one guy.
Paul Walker wasn't an actor.
Yes.
Who's the other
Paul
guy?
Walker, and this is.
I have no idea who that is.
He was in Sound of Freedom. He was the undercover guy.
For a second, I thought she was going to say he was the undercover brother. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, look at their eyes and tell me that they could pass as
related for sure.
Related.
yes.
Yeah.
Jim
Well,
Caviezel,
I mean,
what the
possibly.
heck is his name?
I mean, I can see it, I guess. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up for everybody since they're kind of wondering, what are you talking about, boy? But
Paul Walker, was said to be fighting child trafficking, and he was trying to expose it.
Can't make it any bigger, unfortunately. But yeah, he kind of looks like Paul Walker a little bit. I can see it to some degree. And there's Paul. But, yeah.
Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard is his name.
Okay. Got you. I mean, I can see that.
I went down this short little rabbit hole the other day because I seen their pictures kind of close together.
Right.
And
Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can make anything up about Wikipedia and stuff. So
very, very true too. I mean, hard to tell. No, but like I've always said, if they don't bring back Paul Walker somehow in the final Fast and Furious movie, I'm going to be a little disappointed because they've laid the groundwork for it. So I'm hoping they still. I know it's going to probably cause a lot of stir and a lot of controversy, but I think it would make a lot of sense if they end up doing it. And, and they've already got the family's blessing, so I think they should somehow or another. I would think they would probably use his brothers again and CGI it though. That's what they did when he passed. But I mean, you never know. I mean, maybe they just recast altogether. That's for sure. I don't know if I'd like it as well. I want it to look like Paul Walker. So, I don't know, but anyway. So what, Matt? You said to say something.
Well, you said we talked about this a week ago with the guy that looked like Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I mean, that works though.
Thing,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would work.
It looks like him. It's great.
I mean, I would rather it be recast than not do it at all. So there is that. So yeah. Let's go ahead and do this quick trailer thing here. I don't know if Brandon will be back for it, but he'll come back for it. But the Naked Gun reboot had a trailer this week, and I know Mike saw it, and he was talking about it, so I thought we'd run it here. If I can find it.
Once you kill a man for revenge, there's no going back. A voice in your head saying over and over, "That was awesome."
Matt's face is outstanding.
Who are you?
Drebin. Detective Frank Drebin. Thanks.
Police Squad has always been the elite of the elite.
Hi, Daddy. It's me, Frank Jr. Love you.
Hey, Dad. Boy, do I miss you.
That's messed up, bro.
And you, Frank, are the best of the best.
Need a bathroom.
I need this room immediately.
There's a line, man.
Police business.
Don't lie, you do it.
Oh, I'm gonna ruin another suit.
Over here, Lieutenant. I think someone murdered my brother.
Please, take a chair.
Thank you.
Pamela Anderson.
I'll find them. This is what I do. Says you served 20 years for man's laughter.
You mean manslaughter?
Must have been quite the joke.
Bro.
They're going to shut down Police Squad if you do not solve this case. Do this by the book.
Show a little respect!
Why? Who's gonna arrest me? Other cops?
Yes.
Is she serious?
Is he serious?
No.
It seems Mr. Drebin might be more of a problem than we thought. I want you to keep an eye on him.
This oven is disgusting.
Rest assured, I won't stop until I've found justice.
What do you want, little one?
Your ass. Nobody messes with Police Squad.
We've upgraded your car with the most advanced crime-fighting tech.
Drive forward 30 feet. Pretty smooth.
Oh.
This place is falling apart.
Mike's already in the chat. Pass. Look, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I won't watch it in theaters, but I wouldn't mind seeing it like for Liam Neeson alone. I think he looks like he's having a blast doing
But it
it.
also looks like one of those you saw all the funny bits in the trailer.
Yeah, that is concerning. You know, these trailers nowadays like just spoil everything. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Any interest in the Naked Gun reboot? I know it's kind of spoof movies in a way too. Kind of not been what they once were back in the day.
Yeah, because back in the day, they really toted a fucking line in spoof movies back then. Like,
right. Yeah, I mean, Pamela Anderson. I did not almost recognize her there either.
wait, that's who that is?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe that's her on the poster. I think so. But she was the one carrying the chair out of the interrogation room earlier for sure. So yeah,
remember we see her a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Met Gala, and it didn't fucking look like her.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not always the biggest fan of the Leslie Nielsen stuff. I know a lot of people are. No shot there. It's just some of the old spoof stuff never really hit. I mean, I like Spaceballs and things like that, which we'll talk
they're
about.
doing another one of those.
Yeah, and but you know, for a lot of times, like Airplane. I mean, it was funny.
I think.
I know those are considered classics, but I just never really got into them.
But those were funny movies for the time too. Like you can't recreate a lot of shit like that either. Like you're not gonna get what you got with Liam Neeson, what you got with
Leslie Nielsen.
Like you're not getting that because he brought a lot of that as an actor to those movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not gonna be the same at all. I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, honestly, like I said, it seems like all the funny shit was in the trailer.
Well, and Mike's right, too. Liam Neeson will always be the badass from Taken. Leslie Nielsen will always be Frank Drebin from The Naked Gun. Yeah. So, it's a totally different. I mean, Liam Neeson's got a good comedic timing. And a lot of this started like in Ted when he bought the box of cereal in front of Ted where he was very serious. So I think some of that kind of started there, the comedic side of it. So I just don't know if I buy it, but I don't know. There's some people who like it just for the nostalgia of the Naked Gun series, but a lot of kids today probably never even heard of it. You know what I'm saying? No. But so I don't know how all this is going to do. Not only that,
O.J. Simpson was in those movies.
Well, yeah, they actually referenced the beginning of this trailer. You missed. His son was like looking at his picture. He's like, nah. But anyway, so but this movie also has the unfortunate distinction of being sandwiched at the box office in between Superman and Fantastic Four, right? That 2-week gap. So that's probably, and Jurassic World comes out 2 weeks prior to this. So good luck. I mean, there may be some people who go give this a shot, but I don't expect it to do the greatest in the world.
I mean, I'll watch it if it's streaming somewhere.
Yeah, like I'll check it out one day, maybe as a curiosity's sake. But for the most part, it's not something I'm really, dying to go see at the movie theater and spending half a mortgage on for sure. No doubt about it. So anyway, all right, we got one more bit of movie news items to get to. Let's get into the rapid fire segment here. We'll forego the introductory transition there, as it were. We'll just kind of jump right. Did I have that pulled up? I bet. Okay, there we go. So as Brandon mentioned, they announced a Spaceballs sequel, obviously, which we already knew was coming, but we officially have a release year. It's coming out in 2027 now, and Mel Brooks, at 98 years old, will be coming back to star in this film alongside a returning Rick Moranis, who will be coming out of retirement for the first time in ages. I'm surprised he didn't come back for the reboot of or the sequel, as it were, to Ghostbusters. But I guess Dark Helmet was too much to pass up on.
Yeah, there was a time where Rick Moranis ran movies for a while. He had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 2, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. Like, there was a time where Rick Moranis was in a lot of shit. Even is it Little Shop of Horrors?
Maybe I haven't seen a ton of his work. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Ghostbusters, and Spaceballs. Yes, but
yeah, was it Little Shop of Horrors he was in? Yeah,
sounds
with
right.
the Feed Me Seymour, where he played in. Good movie.
I can't. Well, I mean, to be honest, I kind of understand. It's kind of like me with the Goonies, Mike. I never saw the Goonies until I was older. He says he's never seen Spaceballs, so he said probably get some flack.
What the fuck?
I mean, especially a kid of like that time frame. I'm surprised you never really did. But
my Schwartz is bigger than yours.
Sometimes it falls through the cracks. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Pizza the Hut.
Yeah, and apparently Bill Pullman and I believe the lady who played Vespa, they're all coming. I think it's the same lady who played.
Yeah, John Candy's not.
John Candy's not, but I think Bill Pullman's son, is it Lewis Pullman, who was in Top Gun Maverick and was just in Thunderbolts. He's coming back to play Bill Pullman's son in this movie as well. So yeah, I mean, at least we're getting some of the old cast back. I'm sure they'll pay homage to John Candy, or hopefully they don't recast.
No,
that's impossible. Don't even try.
You can't replace that. The half dog man shit. That shit was hilarious.
No, absolutely not. So yeah,
Barf
was it?
Barf.
Yeah, it was like a Barf the dog or something like that.
Barf.
Yeah, so I don't remember all the characters. It's been a long time since I've seen it, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I'm sure there'll be some people who will go see this spoof movie since it's been long demanded by fans. We'll see if fans actually show up for it. Also, Nintendo delayed their live action The Legend of Zelda movie. However, they delayed it like a month. The only reason
Zelda is one of those games that you could do. It could be really well done as a movie if you do it right.
Right. And it's live action, so I'm a little concerned. But if you do it like a Lord of the Rings style, it could work. But I kind of want to see the team up with Mario and stuff, Smash Brothers stuff eventually. But I don't know. We'll have to see how that ends up going if they end up doing that. But like I said, they only delayed it from March 2027 to May 7th of 2027. Because May 7th was the date that Avengers Secret Wars used to have, and now they're taking it. So it's actually smart on Disney's part. This is the opening of the big summer blockbuster season. So if it's done right, this is a good move on Nintendo's part, in my opinion. So a delay, but not that big of a deal. Producer Jerry Bruckheimer also is stating that the original cast will be returning for Pirates of the Caribbean 6. And Orlando Bloom, who is also saying it's time to get the band back together. So that's kind of signaling that we're going to be getting Keira Knightley and Johnny Depp back as well, who said at one point he would never work for Disney again with the lawsuit with Amber Heard and the fact that they dropped him then. But time heals all wounds, and you back the Brinks truck up, and maybe that is going to be the case, and an opportunity to get his career back on track. And here we go. So potentially getting that 6th installment that they teased at the end of 5. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. But that, to me, is the only way it's going to make money, because nobody wants to see a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. They just want the original actors back, and they definitely laid that groundwork. So can't wait to see that. Mike also said, by the way, Brandon, I sent the Kamala video in the group chat again. Kamala, yeah, if you've seen it. And he said he saw the first Pirates, but never watched the rest. First one is probably the best one, but they're all good in certain rights, I think, especially the first 2, for sure.
I think I've seen those 2.
Yeah, well, and if the 6th one's good, I think it has potential. But that's one of the reasons I like 5. They brought back some of the old cast. Transformers 1, the animated movie that came out, was it last year? Is apparently they have no plans for a sequel, so people did not show up for this, and it did not do very well.
Crap.
Well, I actually thought it looked good. We talked about the trailer.
Making more crap.
Well, they're focused on their live action Transformers G.I. Joe thing right now.
Making crap is what they're doing. This is crap.
But Brandon and I at least thought that it had potential. I know we watched the trailer, but I've still not to this day watched it. It's been out forever.
Even the Michael Bay movies were great.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know. That's why.
Stop ruining brands.
We've also, speaking of brands, we've also got our first look at Nicholas Galitzin. I think that's how you say his name, as He-Man with the Sword of Power in the upcoming Masters of the Universe film, which I believe is coming out in 2026. Eternia may be in good hands. But look at the sword there and a picture of him from behind in the shadows a bit.
Brandon, would your kids remember the original Masters of the Universe?
No.
Kids wouldn't know.
Okay.
This is.
My dad was little when Masters of the Universe came out. Our generation is going to be like, who the fuck is this guy?
No, they won't. I remember Masters of the Universe. I watched it. I had the actual ticket.
We know that you will. I'm talking about kids.
He's talking about young kids. They're not going to.
No, they don't have no fucking idea who He-Man is. And you know what?
Movie,
not for everybody. All right, let us, some of us old timers, relive our childhood.
I mean,
fuck y'all.
No, I'm not letting any old timers have.
To Matt's point, it does make sense. The broader the audience you can attract, the better. But I also agree with Brandon. Sometimes it's not made for kids. Okay, it's going to be for the old folks. Okay, those of us who remember it, and even I vaguely remember it. I remember watching it, but I'd have to get a refresher. But yeah, no doubt about it. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope I didn't run Matt off there. I was trying to defend that, but anyway, so I'm looking forward to it, no doubt about it. And of course, the last couple of bits of movie news: Moana 3 is apparently in the works at Disney.
I haven't seen 2 yet.
This is no surprise. I went and seen the second one at the theater with my niece and my sister. I can't remember if my nephew went or not. I think he did. I actually thought it was a pretty good film. I actually got a little teary-eyed toward the end of it, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm man up and say it. But so in a way, this makes all, and it made like $1 billion, so it's coming back. They're not going to stop with that kind of money train. No doubt about it. I thought it was pretty good. It maybe wasn't as good as the first one, but it was very close.
Again, there's sometimes you're not going to get better than the first one.
But it was there. There's some people who may say differently than me, who say two may be better. So it was there. So credit to where it's due, no doubt about it. And of course, the live action Moana is still coming out of the remake with The Rock of the first film. And then of course this week, Jaws celebrated its 50th anniversary.
How can you hate Jaws?
We're going to need a bigger boat. So yeah.
Like you can't recreate this movie. You can't, like, if you don't do it. Let this movie be what this movie was, because it was a great movie on its own. That shark was fucking terrifying.
1975, which officially means we are now 2 years away from the original Star Wars being 50 years old.
And that's why Marissa does not get in the ocean.
I don't blame her at all. I mean, geez.
The thought alone of a 25-foot great white shark terrorizing an island.
On that note, they were just saying not too long ago, a couple days ago, actually, off the coast of Florida, I guess, in the migration.
This is why it gives people nightmare.
Great white shark just passing by.
And I was like,
of course, the iconic score and things like, and all of that. This is a great example of a movie where you did not necessarily need to see the shark very much, but you knew it was there.
The music was enough.
Right, and I believe it was a John Williams score, if I'm not mistaken. So again, credit to the maestro. So one of the best, actually, in my opinion, the greatest of all time to do it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do not go see Jaws 3.
Jaws 3. Well, it's been out for years.
Just not go see the third Jaws movie. 2 is enough. The third one with Dennis Quaid in it is a travesty to 3D.
It's been retrofitted to be 3D too. It was never meant to be in 3D. That's why it sucked.
It just because just don't.
Well, that's why the 3D sucked. I'm just letting you know, because it was never made for that.
Yes,
but
let's trap 50,000 people inside 4 tubes, and then have a giant shark terrorize them for 3 hours.
So what you're saying?
Entire movie.
So what you're saying is it was no Sharknado, huh? Yeah.
No, you can't even touch Sharknado.
Sarcasm, Brandon.
A legend on its own.
Sarcasm, okay?
Like, that's this generation's version of Jaws is Sharknado. You realize
that's sad. That's just sad.
Yes.
Sad as hell, boy. But anyway, any other thoughts on the world of the movies at this point?
No, I'm done.
Other than, like, legitimately, the only one I probably would want to see, other than Moana 2, is Spaceballs 2.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Well, coming out about 2 years. We don't know the exact release date yet, but we have a year, 2027. So awesome. So I can't wait to see.
And He-Man.
Oh, of course. Yeah, He-Man too. No doubt about it. All right. And before we move on to the world of politics, I'm sure Mike will probably be going to bed. He had another chat. He said, I sent a Tom Brady, Eli Manning link about their brawl at the WWE.
Yeah,
Did you see this?
Showed me that.
I thought it was pretty cool, I guess, but
he came out
having some good time. Which was pre-cut because it ripped it real quick, and Eli come out and kind of play tackle Brady a little bit. So it was pretty fun to watch. Too bad Peyton wasn't there. That'd have been even funnier. But anyway, so yeah, it was good to see. I've seen that before. But yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, Mike. That was funny.
2-on-1 beat down. They start putting the feet to Tom Brady.
Putting the feet to Tom Brady, no doubt about it. All right, well, we got a little bit to talk about here. I'm hoping to get this done by 3 hours, though. So hopefully we can fit this in. But here we go. We need to get into politics and news because we have a little bit to talk about there. A lot of stuff happened in the last 2 weeks. Here we go.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. What country's got a feeling, really hit the ceiling? Bomb, Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Went to a mosque, gonna throw some rocks. Tell the Ayatollah, gonna put you in a box. Bomb, Iran. Bomb, 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 bomb. Sam's getting pretty hot. Time to turn Iran into a parking lot. Bomb Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, bomb, Iran. The country's got a feeling, really hit the ceiling. Bomb Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran.
All right. I know that was pretty catchy though. I kind of like that song. But anyway, some people might think it's in bad taste, but you know what? I thought that was kind of funny. Lighten up, jeez, you know what I'm saying? But anyhow, so that is the big news, obviously, in the world. Obviously, is literally world news. Donald Trump authorized a military strike to go after Iran after Israel and Iran been going at it in the Middle East. Israel took out Iran's nuclear sites as well as high-ranking military generals and nuclear scientists earlier this week. Iran targeted residential areas in retaliation, civilians, mind you. The United States and Donald Trump had been trying to get Iran to agree to peace. Negotiations toward peace were not able to be accomplished as Iran refused to give up their aspirations of a nuclear weapon. And Iran has brazenly been calling for the death of Israel and death to America for years. And obviously, as Iran found out, Donald Trump is not Obama, as it were here. So they FA'd and then FO'd, as it were. So simple as that. Yeah.
Eric, did you see the thing I posted last night about them electing to receive?
Yeah, I did.
They elected to receive.
Well, Iran flipped a coin and elected to receive. A football reference there from Matt, no doubt about it. So yeah, as a little aside here to get Mike's goodbye in, otherwise I'm sure he'll hear about it. So time for me to crash. My 5:30 starts here to gets here fast. So that's a goodbye. I leave you with this. Jim Ross once called Jim Cornette a boil on the ass of life. If he's the boil, then Matt, my friend, will consider you the dingleberry. Good night, all. You've been saving that one, haven't you? Yeah. Cold, but out of pocket. Anyway, that's like one of my favorite new sayings is out of pocket. I don't know why. It's just the way Brandon says it always cracks me up. So I say it all the time now. But anyway, so being left with no choice, Donald Trump authorized United States forces to drop. There's some conflicting reports whether it's 6 MOP bunker bombs, which are massive ordnance penetrators. Some reports are saying 12 up to maybe even 14 of these bombs may have been dropped by B-2 bombers on a nuclear facility in the mountains of Iran, and 30 Tomahawk missiles fired from submarines 400 miles away took out 2 other nuclear sites. So as of now, Iran has been unburdened by what has been, as it were. So so Trump has been very consistent on his stance about Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon for the past decade plus. And thus, Iran has been served a healthy dose of B2 vitamins. General thoughts on this when you first saw the news that Trump authorized these strikes, and then we'll get into the supposed controversy about all this. Go ahead.
Don't burn our flag and treat us like shit. How about that?
Well, it's not just the flag they were burning. They were blowing people to bits. And since the Iraq and Afghanistan days, they've been doing this to the United States. So everybody on the left who wants to say, well, this was an unprovoked attack from the United States to Iran. No, it wasn't, you morons. They've been destroying United States assets and military personnel for years. So this is not just out of nowhere. But we'll talk more about that in just a minute. So, but yeah, your thoughts when you first saw it? I mean, I kind of figured it was coming.
Yeah,
but
it's not a surprise.
Donald Trump was saying, well, within the next 14 days, we're going to, I'll let you, we'll figure out if we need to strike him or not. But then it was 2 days later after that statement was made and it officially happened. A lot of that was to throw them off the scent, I believe, because obviously there's also other reports out there of B-2 bombers were being sent toward the west. And there was also B-2 bombers sent to the east. So Iran didn't even know the ones heading their direction were coming. It was a little misdirection on Donald Trump's part, which is also brilliant. And also was brilliant. Apparently, there are some reports now that he actually called Democratic Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, but he also tried to call Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader. Hakeem Jeffries apparently didn't answer the phone. But other than that, he didn't tell any other Democrats. And to be honest, why? Because they were just going to get on the news and probably warn Iran to get out the way. And it doesn't appear any casualties from either side happened in this strike anyway. But
Eric, he's the president of the United States. He doesn't have to tell anybody what he's doing.
Absolutely. And
that's his discretion.
Right, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, about how they're talking about he needed congressional approval. No, he did not.
No, he does not.
But, for those of you saying that, what about Obama and Biden and Clinton and Bush, who've all done this, by the way? And some of those did not end up in prolonged wars, but we'll talk about that in depth and further. But yeah, initially when I saw this, I was like, okay, I thought it might come. I was hoping it wouldn't happen. But at some point, and Trump is the no war president, no new wars, but at some point you paint him into a corner like this where you refuse
to defend himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to do something about it. He's going to do what's best for this country, and them having a nuclear weapon is not in good interest of this country, no doubt about it. So, I mean, first of all, let's not forget how we got here. Okay.
Yeah.
We are only here now because of presidents like this guy and Biden and elsewhere. This is literally, I don't know if this is the exact picture, but pallets of money that Obama sent to Iran. Here's some more detailed of it. Hillary Clinton supplied Iran with uranium to enrich their nuclear program. Obama sent Iran pallets of cash to the tune of $1.7 billion. And Donald Trump came into office in his first term following Obama's last term. And through severe economic sanctions, Iran went broke under Donald Trump's first term. Then following a stolen election, yeah, I said it, the Biden administration released $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds in 2023 for a prisoner swap that was intended for humanitarian use, according to the Biden administration. But the Ayatollah Asshola promised they'd use this however they saw fit, despite the Biden administration lying and saying it could only be used for humanitarian purposes. And me and many others at the time said, yeah, Iran's going to use that for humanitarian purposes. Like they care for their citizens. We all knew at the time that $6 billion was going to be going. And apparently, according to this graphic here, was over $16 billion in total that Biden sent them. So yeah, they've been funding this for years. The Democratic Party, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I understand that Iran's genocidal maniacs. Okay. But I just want to point out that their parliament, when they got nuclear enrichment, they rode out on motorcycles and flags and screamed like a bunch of banshees. Our parliament is falling asleep during most of their meetings.
No, we don't have parliament, but I see your point. Yes,
Yeah, I know.
I know what you're getting at. Yeah,
Our congressional meetings are them sleeping.
Yeah, and a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those are sometimes those meetings are over 24 hours long too, but that's on them.
That doesn't justify what they're doing.
No, of course not. Yeah, I see your point. No doubt about it. But many on the right don't want another endless war. And neither do I. I get it. But I've seen many names who are prominent in MAGA and the conservative movement attack Donald Trump on this, believing he lied to us and betrayed our vote for no new wars as we knew he ran on. Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Rob Schneider, and others are sure to follow in this sentiment. Now, obviously, Candace Owens has kind of got her own opinions on Israel and things, and there's plenty of people who do. But she definitely attacked him on this too. And the Hodge twins really surprised me a little bit on this one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Wait, they criticized Trump
on their Twitter account. Their Facebook account, they ended up saying was being ran by someone else, and it was actually more pro this bombing. But their X account, yeah, they've been criticizing it for now. To their credit, they just want peace. And like I said, I know we all do. But sometimes I think this does end up becoming necessary under the right circumstances.
Yeah, there's
You know,
there's other things involved here.
I wish I could get you guys to listen to the Operation Gladio series that I've talked about a little bit before. She did. Colonel Towner was on with Absolute Storm. I think it was sometime last week, and gives a complete breakdown of the history of Iran and Israel, why we're here, and it's the governments.
Yeah,
like it's
well. And without getting into a big religious debate or topic here, and I know this was mentioned with we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz here in just a minute, but it won't be about this part of it. But they even got to a big heated argument a bit about, you know, backing Israel, because that's what the Bible teaches. And I know Matt said in our, you know, chat that he, you know, is behind Israel, and I don't disagree with that. But you got to be careful when you say that statement, because there are a lot of people out there. When the Bible refers to backing Israel, it means it's people, the Jewish people,
yes,
God's chosen people. That does not necessarily mean the government that runs it. Okay, there's a big distinction there. So I see what Matt was trying to say. That's why I didn't really say much.
And there's a big distinction between the Iranian government and the women and children that are innocent in all this too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I don't want to see anybody dying, but
right, and
that's a bully cannot be allowed to keep bullying. So the peace through strength. We're gonna bomb you if you keep threatening to use your nuclear weapon. Like,
well, and
I don't get why the damn Hodge twins can't see that.
Yeah, and Rob Schneider was another one who was like, he's going around Constitution. No, he wasn't. Rob just needs to take a little time off the social media, and I love Rob Schneider. He's been a great supporter, but I think he kind of like Elon Musk kind of isn't seeing things clearly at the moment. But to Miranda's point, I mean, Donald Trump warned he'd be able to get out of Tehran, I should say. And then the people, or the facilities we bombed, from all indications, they knew this was coming and they evacuated. No casualties. This was just the facilities that were destroyed. And to Miranda's credit, yes, even the people of Iran, the citizens, want their regime gone. So yes, I don't want to see any of them get hurt. No one does.
Nope.
So yeah, it's you guys just got to be careful when you say you're for this or for that, because a lot of times we're talking about the governments involved and not the people themselves.
Yeah, when I said that, Eric, that was not governmental.
Right, I knew what you meant, and you're just trying to follow the biblical teaching, and I get it. But yes, absolutely. But I just wanted to make that distinction for anybody who might be listening.
Yeah, I saw a meme that said Trump's going to build a golf course over in Iran soon.
Well, it's already leveled. But
he's already got the first 3 holes.
Yeah,
fair. That's good. That's good. But yeah, for all these people who are panicking, we've had 4.5 years of Donald Trump's foreign policy, and every single time he's figured out a peace deal where possible. Trump dropped bombs in his first term too. Let's not forget that. And none of those instances led to a new prolonged war. If it does, I will be the first to say I'm not in favor of a new prolonged war with boots on the ground. I don't think anybody in this country wants that anymore, including Democrats, even though I think right now Democrats are mostly using this to attack Trump. It's not so much that they care. But that doesn't mean that Donald Trump will not fire a few missiles every now and then if he needs to show he means business. All you so-called Trump supporters out there, better tighten your chin straps, because now is when you show what you're made of. And Trump ain't invading with boots on the ground for a Gore or for a George Bush style regime change, nation building, 20-year type of effort. Okay. Donald Trump is anti-war and anti-violence. If there's any way to avoid it, he will. But at the same time, he's America first. I believe he's doing everything he can to bring an end to all the conflicts as quickly as he can. And for 30 years, President Trump has been promising to ensure Iran wouldn't ever get another nuclear weapon at all. But yet he's been the only one to have the balls to do it. And this just shows you right here, all the quotes from Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, all of them pledging to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. And Donald Trump's the only one with the balls to actually pull it off. So let's keep that in mind. You can criticize him all you want, but this is, everybody's saying, well, he broke his promises about starting a new war. We're not in a new war right now. He hasn't broken that promise, but he did keep his promise to make sure they didn't get a nuclear weapon, which, knowing him as I think I do, he would not have done unless he had ironclad intel that showed that they were close.
And listen, George Magazine has reported that he's got a national security meeting tomorrow. So I would say something else is about to get BFA.
Well, and this doesn't necessarily mean it's over. I pray it is, but even Trump said in his speech that it could continue if they continue to persist and retaliate.
Those people, they don't need a nuclear weapon.
Well, no,
they don't need
not at all.
The only reason why
nobody does.
Yeah,
the only reason why they want that nuclear weapon is so they'll blow up in the largest city that they can to cause.
And every country needs to build their own golden dome, and
I agree, Miranda.
Their militaries can build their countries, and we can all live in peace.
Now, it would be nice to have total denuclearization across the globe.
Yes.
I don't think we'll ever see it, but
No.
unless that's the only way you could ever get rid of yours. Otherwise, you need to keep it for deterrence. But other than that, yeah, I mean, that would be great. I mean, that would be outstanding.
I've noticed lately that it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement.
They
don't do that.
It would be MAD, literally, MAD, mutually assured destruction. That's why, because if we were to fire nukes off, everybody else would start firing, and we'd all just murder each other. That's why nobody's done it to this point. So obviously the nuclear race was different at that point. America's the only one who had the bomb, but yes, I mean, at this point, that's the only thing keeping us from blowing each other up. So it's just crazy.
It's sad.
But I wanted to share this post I put up on Facebook, and I know you can't probably read it, but I'll read it to you a little bit here, because this involves the left side of the aisle right now. I want to be clear. President Trump may have just saved the world. And what you'll hear in the coming days will be rhetoric that states the action he just took as the commander-in-chief was unconstitutional without congressional approval. But congressional approval is only required for a declaration of war. This is not that. This was a limited but targeted precision strike and has been done before by many presidents in the past, all of which had the authority to do so as the commander-in-chief of the military. To even suggest or think that every action like this must be approved by a bunch of do-nothing suits sitting in Congress who won't do anything for months or years before urgent strikes need to be followed through and carried out is an absolute joke. Sometimes things have to be done quickly and decisively, so do not buy into the misinformation that is surely to come from the Democratic Party. And of course, as soon as I posted that, within hours, they all started to come out of the woodwork, including the supposed leader of the Democratic ticket, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the freaking chief of all airheads over there, came out and said that the president needs to be impeached for violating the Constitution and congressional war powers. Then we had Elizabeth Warren saying the same sort of crap, talking about it's unconstitutional. And it needs to we need to vote to immediately prevent another endless war. The only one with any common sense was freaking, John Fetterman, the guy who had a freaking massive stroke. Apparently did something to his brain that fixed him, because now he's actually speaking common sense and was actually with the president on these strikes. And he's, hey, John, why don't you start voting our way a little bit? How about that? That would help us out.
Here's the thing. They all agree with what he did, but they can't say that shit. So
he's the only one doing it.
I often wonder, like, when
Well, here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Everybody is all for Israel. Does Israel have a nuclear program?
As far as I know, yeah.
I just asked Grok because I wanted to be sure. And he says it's widely believed that they do possess nuclear weapons, but never confirmed.
Well,
JFK was killed because he was trying to expose their nuclear program.
Among other things, probably, but I don't know.
Yeah, but earlier today I saw a post that Iran was threatening to bomb the site of which they believe is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, and that's the thing too. Israel's a tricky thing, because obviously there's a lot of people who believe that people in our government, politicians. A lot of people are now thinking that Trump is one of them. I don't think I go that far. That is just doing Israel's beck and call. I believe Miranda probably feels that way. From I can tell just by reading her face. But I think in some respects it's probably true. But you can say that about Ukraine. You can say that about a lot of other countries.
Well, yeah, they all are.
Exactly.
Yeah, Ukraine shit should be.
I'm just saying, Israel, like all this, I stand with Israel. Mm-hmm. Again, I stand with the innocent people of the world.
And I think that's
governments are the ones that got you here.
Mm-hmm.
Your governments are the problem.
And I think
And
when you
Trump
see those,
is trying to fix that for you.
exactly, and I think when you see those, I stand with the Israel posts. It's much like coming from Matt's point of view of just trying to adhere to their biblical beliefs and things. I think that's where a lot of it's coming from. But yeah,
it's biblical belief.
And some people may not understand the whole governmental side of it.
You
They
don't
don't.
that place.
They don't. Some people don't. A lot of people don't. I mean, it's just like now when you hear these talking points and these buzzwords, that's what they'll run on, these talking points and buzzwords.
Yeah.
So one person starts this post, and then you see the carbon copies of everybody else. Sure, they may change a few words, but the same buzzwords and talking points will be in those posts because that's what they don't really know what they're saying. They're not. How can I put this? It's like a cult. You're just repeating what the first person said, the leader said. So whoever starts the chain, you're just repeating what they said.
But they've also proved that like these talking points get instructions and offered money to promote things this way.
Yep.
So.
Well, and that's why as a Christian too, I've had a hard time because, like I said, that Bible verse about, if you bless those of Israel, you'll be blessed. If you curse those, you'll be cursed. Such sort of situation. So even I've had a hard time trying to wrap my mind around that even the government could potentially be a bad government. A part of me wants to believe that the nation of Israel, that is God's chosen people, are good people. But there's a potential that the government and the people running it may not be. So I've struggled with that. How do I go about navigating my personal beliefs on it? So I'm trying to be open to that idea, but at the same time, I do believe the Bible to be true. So that does not necessarily, it's not talking about the government.
I believe the Bible to be true, but I don't believe the maps to be true, if that makes any sense.
Well, there's a lot of history.
What if Israel wasn't, what if that's not Israel?
And it could just be potentially just completely talking about the Jewish people too. So of course that is supposedly where they all gather, and that's where it's going to be. It's a whole thing, but it's just very hard to navigate.
Though, unfortunately, there are evil Jews because Jeffrey Epstein claimed to be a Jew.
Well, yeah, and some people claim to be religious and or a certain religion, and they're just not, or they think they are and they're not. There's a lot of that going around too. That's up to God to kind of weed that out.
My great aunt claimed to be a Christian, and she was probably one of the evilest women I knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, people think that sometimes we'll self-delude, and that's why I believe, I can't remember the exact wording in the Bible, but it says always to test your faith to ensure that you are, in the right place, but so to speak. So, it's all those things you got to constantly be analyzing yourself too. And I try to do that as much as possible.
What's weird about what you just said there, Eric? And I mean, it's a total deja vu moment. I don't like bringing up religion, but
it's relevant here though.
But we were sitting in church today, and we had our pastor go through the same sermon you just mentioned. Wow. It was the same one. He just brought it up. Being faithful, God's faithful, that same exact one you just mentioned.
It's funny how that works. Sometimes God will be like, hey, tugging on you like, all right, did you see that? Maybe it's something he wants you to maybe think on. So I don't know.
That's the same thing that Tim was trying to say is God shows you in different ways.
Absolutely.
But it's never the way you think.
Oh, definitely not. It's usually not, for sure. But the whole point of all these posts here from all these Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, the new Wonder Woman over there, Jasmine Crockett, who is I believe it was one of our favorite Senator Kennedy who said she's not the dumbest person in the world, but she better hope that the dumbest person in the world doesn't die, because she would be. So they're all claiming it's not constitutional what Donald Trump did here.
But they're claiming that they didn't think the Constitution should be upheld.
Right, they're against the Constitution 1 minute, then all of a sudden when it goes against Donald Trump, we're all for the Constitution. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that was before they knew that he called Schumer too.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that too. They were like, well, they didn't inform us. He did, but one of you didn't answer the other one. I don't know what Schumer said to him, but yeah. Not only that, I don't even think I'd have to check on this, but I don't think he even has to let them know. I mean, he has he has to let them know within 48 hours of the strike. But some people online are saying it's 48 hours before the strike, and sometime in between there. But technically, I've been reading too. It could also be 48 hours after the strike too. So they're informed now.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, he lived up to the Constitution, and I think he has to pull everybody out within 60 days or something like that. Otherwise, it has to be a declaration of war. So in that case, he's fully in line with the Constitution. So I don't know what the whole hubbub's about. Just because it's him who did it, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, it's the talking points. They said the fucking laptop wasn't real either.
Yeah.
You know, they just spew lies.
That's all it is, 100%. And I wanted to play a video here, just kind of explain a little bit more about this from the older millennials. So here you go.
So just to be clear, no, I don't support the bombing of Iran. But I just got to say, for all you people calling for impeachment, learn your fucking history. First of all, the War Powers Act says that the president can authorize strikes without talking to Congress. In fact, he has 48 hours after the strike to notify them. And also, I'd just like to quickly point out all the presidents that bombed other countries without congressional approval. Let's start with Obama. Without congressional approval, he bombed Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, and Pakistan. George W. Bush, Afghanistan and Iraq. Old Slick Willie Bill Clinton, yeah, he bombed Iraq, Serbia, Sudan, and Afghanistan. These are all without congressional approval, by the way. Then you got George H.W. Bush, who bombed Iraq and Panama without congressional approval. Then you got Reagan, who did Libya and Grenada. You got Nixon, who did Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. You got Lyndon B. Johnson, who bombed Vietnam and the Dominican Republic. There was also Joe Biden dropping bombs on Syria, again, without congressional approval. Guys, almost every president has done this, and none of them were impeached for those strikes. So just fucking stop.
Agreed, 1,000%. So yeah. So thoughts on the Iranian bombings? Last thing I'm gonna talk about.
No. I found out. Like again, you can't keep saying. It's just like me telling somebody, I'm gonna punch you in the face every day. Like I'm gonna punch you in the face. And then
no comment.
Matt, you listening to this?
What?
Sleep.
You need to punch Brandon in the face. That's the only way to get him to stop bullying you.
That's not about to happen. You punch me in the face, it's gonna be a long day at the office for you.
That's bad. Just make sure I'm in the room when you try. I want to know.
I just think that Israel. I have a belief that land is sacred. Now, whether their government is sacred or not, I don't give a crap about their government. That land is sacred. You don't bomb that land. You don't bomb that people.
It's just like,
well, yeah, that's the bigger thing. Iran's bombing civilians. They're not even going after military targets.
Yeah,
they were doing that before we got involved.
The Nasara crowd believes that when you mirror it, Chicago and Israel look like it's the same terrain.
Well, not only that, too, everybody's like, well, they're bombing civilians in Israel. But Israel's been bombing civilians in Gaza. Look, the thing about the Gaza, when I hear people say that, you got to understand, Hamas and those people in Gaza, they were literally putting their military installations and hiding their weapons and soldiers in hospitals, in schools, underneath all those. So the only way it was either go in these tunnels, which they've been trying to do, but they've also been trying to tell these people to get out. Otherwise, they're going to get bombed. So when I hear that they're bombing civilians,
and this is what happens when you don't stand up for yourselves. Like I don't think they probably never stood a chance.
Well, some of those people voted for Hamas too. So some of the people were. So when you're saying they're bombing civilians, are they really civilians though? If they support this radical regime in Hamas,
just like real quick. So they're planning more No Kings protests for July 4th.
Somebody needs to tell them what July 4th stands for.
Just
saying, and we're going to talk about that in just a smidge.
Yeah,
you're right.
Kings and queens. You're right. You're 100% correct in that aspect. We didn't want no queens.
Independence Day is literally the original No Kings protest.
Did you see the AI thing where it was RFK? I think it was AI. And RFK goes, Yeah, we orchestrated the No Kings protest, and he goes,
yes,
and then he goes, me and Trump had a bet that we could get all these people to come back out and protest. It was funny.
Well, let's get into that because that is kind of my next thing. So let's check that out real quick. Got a little thing.
The fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
So, LA riots over ICE illegal immigrant apprehensions took place for about a week, and many Democrat government officials tried to say riots were only happening in a small portion of Los Angeles. Okay, let's assume that is true. Then why didn't you get it under control?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they wanted it to happen and spread. They wanted it to get bigger. They really did. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, alongside Governor Gavin Newsom, who allowed LA to burn down recently, says it's Donald Trump's fault. And the reason why these were happening because of the ICE raids, and he was causing chaos by bringing in ICE and the military and all this stuff. And their economy is not suitable or sustainable without the illegals they use to pick their crops and stuff. Listen to this.
So that creates such a terrible state of fear in our city. And it also is a body blow to our economy. We have sectors of our economy that cannot function without immigrant labor. So that creates.
So that sounds like a you problem. If your economy
is slave labor, to be really honest with you.
Yeah.
She's politely saying it's like the argument of not freeing the slaves and freeing the slaves. But if we have slaves, we don't need to pay them, and they can do all this grunt work that nobody else wants to do. So we need them.
Yeah, and then you pay them nothing.
Yeah,
for this hard labor. So yeah, it's modern day slavery. That's what it is. And she's flat out admitting in this video that their economy in Los Angeles cannot function unless it's off the backs of illegals instead of following the law. That's on her. That's her fault, and the policies that they've made structured around these illegals. They're so vital because you don't want to pay them livable working wages. So Mayor Bass also went on to say that the only solution for the ICE race to stop. So what you're saying is allow them to break the law, or allow us to break the law. That's the only way that we can do this, right? So get that bigger picture there. But anyway, yeah,
I like that.
So yeah, I feel for you, but you should have come here legally. Did I change your mind? Yeah, I don't feel for you anymore. So that's basically what's happening with these riots.
What it is. Like, I don't feel for you. Like, I get it. I've said this 1,000 times before. I think we all talked about this. Mm-hmm. Yes, the immigration issue, like the way to legally immigrate to this country is a long, arduous task that doesn't seem to need to be as long as it is. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can do it. Again, you know, hundreds of people who've done it. Like,
I mean, it does need to be improved, but it can still be done. Not to mention these protesters, they're waving the flag of the country they will not go back to.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Make that one make sense.
Waving a country that you don't want to go back to. How do you? In a country you want to stay in.
It's almost like your allegiance. It's almost like your allegiance is not to the country that you have come into, huh?
That's weird.
Then go back to where you were.
Yeah, you could do all that burning and shit and waving.
It seems like they just don't want to do shit for either country. They just want to be fucking hellions.
Yeah.
Problems.
Paid by the Democratic Party.
That's right. They're just in the way.
So Trump and ICE go in and enforce the law when riots occur because Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom do nothing to stop it. Then Trump sends in the National Guard, which is his right as president, by the way. He does not need to consult with the governor of New York or California, any governor for that matter. But a lot of times they do consult. But when Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is doing nothing, why should Trump consult with him? It's Trump's prerogative. He is the commander-in-chief, ladies and gentlemen. And the Marines, he also sent them in to maintain order because no one else was. Now, they were mostly protecting federal buildings, which is, I think, the only thing they really could do. But it's somehow Donald Trump's fault for all the chaos when the chaos was happening before Trump even got involved.
Yeah.
They said Trump was inciting chaos, turning the U.S. military against peaceful protesters, United States citizens, when in reality he was establishing law and order. Sounds almost identical to when they lied and said he incited an insurrection on January 6th, which he also didn't do.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just crap on top of crap.
Yeah.
So
So
they're really trying to get this whole. Never mind.
It's just stupid. But apparently, we had some interesting things happen last weekend. Military parade and No Kings protest. Let's talk about the military parade first a little bit, though. Took place on Flag Day last Saturday on Trump's 79th birthday. As we talked about on the podcast 2 weeks ago, it was not fascist, by the way. It was for the 250th anniversary of the United States Army, and it was a patriotic event. We watched it live, and I really enjoyed the patriotism. Thoughts on this parade?
It was dope. It was dope. The drones were dope. All I know is, I'm sad that I never really did join the military, but I'm also glad because that shit looked miserable with all that heavy shit walking around.
Oh, with that heat.
Brother.
I mean, it wasn't as hot as it was this weekend, but
but they looked like they was going through it.
Yeah.
I want to point out that it was supposed to storm that day. Trump had a post on Truth that said something about the weather. People can't even get it right, the day of, let alone 200 years from now.
No, yeah, but we got to worry about the climate change and the world ending. With the water hasn't risen in 30 years, but yeah, I mean, it's just
this was,
like that.
But this was actually really cool to see. Like, it was cool on a lot of levels, just to see the that many servicemen and women, but also like the real, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Because I don't want to say might, that's what it is. Like, it's the real force of our military. And it was like one of those moments of like, damn, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, it made me partially regret the fact that I never did it, but then grateful of the fact that I have uncles and cousins and shit who actually served and still serve. Like, it was one of those like, this is what it's, it was dope. It was dope. I enjoyed
Pete Hegseth can make anybody feel patriotic.
Yeah, exactly.
He is good at what he does.
Yeah,
it was dope.
He takes a lot of crap too. It's not fair to him. But now I want to highlight something here, and I think it's very important because the news and politicians can really skew our perception.
Camo tie? I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Yeah, it is actually. It's pretty dope.
I like that.
And his suit jacket always has the American flag inside.
I never noticed that before. That's great.
Wow.
I like that. So yeah, that's great. But anyway, but the news and politicians really can skew our perception of reality. So I want to highlight something. I think this is a great way to put it in perspective. Just how many people actually believe Trump is a dictator. It's literally the craziest of crazies. A very small fringe who actually believes this stuff. All the numbers I'm about to share with you, by the way, can be found on a Google search and by using basic math. Okay, for the military parade, this is an overview shot of the turn and the turn. Now, it went on a little bit here off to the right and a ways and stuff. And you can see some people in the back toward the Washington Monument stuff. So most of the people were gathered up underneath the trees, but there were some people in the field into behind watching the big screens and stuff like that. So pretty good size for a parade that was available to watch on some networks and online throughout the rest of the country. An estimated 20,000 people showed up. Now, not shabby considering its location is Washington, D.C. 20,000 people in a city whose total population is 670,000. That's roughly 3% of D.C. Not bad. Doesn't sound like a lot, but considering it's mostly inhabited by Democrats, the turnout's not too bad in my opinion, okay? But keep all that in, again, keep all this in context, what I'm about to show you here. Now, at the same time this was going on, multiple No Kings protests occurred throughout the country as well. While the left and Democrats are comparing the size of the crowd during the military parade in one location to multiple crowd sizes combined throughout the entire country, it's a bit ridiculous. But Trump only had 20,000 for his parade, is what they say. Democrats said they had about 5 million people throughout the country attend the No Kings protest in 2,100 cities combined. Sounds huge, right? 5 million in 2,100 cities. Well, this is how they love to manipulate things by removing all context. When taken in context, that's still only 1.47% of the entire United States population. 340 million people is the total population. 1.47 showed up who think Trump is a wannabe dictator and king. So No Kings protests were decent size on paper, and in some of these photos, they look big, sure. But contrary to what late night talk show hosts or the media will tell you, Some were so small in attendance, actually, that they were actually canceled, especially in places like Florida. And the largest crowds were only in big blue cities like Los Angeles. And even there, the crowd was maybe 30,000, according to Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, which is only slightly bigger than the parade, the military parade, mind you. By the way, some of these, obviously, look, New York had quite a bit. Chicago, we'll get into them in just a second. But Los Angeles down here at the bottom, a total of 30,000 people. In context, it's only about half the size of the capacity of an average NFL football stadium. Half in the entire city of Los Angeles. In the NFL, a stadium can hold around 70,000 people on average, 60 to 80 in some stadiums. That amount of people in Los Angeles would look something similar to this poorly edited Grok image, but we'll roll with it, okay? This is what it would look like, a half-empty stadium in the city of Los Angeles. Now, speaking as a football fan, a half-empty stadium on game day is pathetic, okay? Not to mention 30,000 protesters in Los Angeles is a drop in the bucket compared to its total population of almost 12 million people, or 0.25% to be exact. Not even a full percent.
Just wait until you see how many actually vote for Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's just leave this up here. New York City, No Kings protest drew 200,000 protesters. Sounds like a lot, but New York's total population is around 8 million people. 2.5% of New York's population showed up. Where were the other 98.5, 97.5? Where were they at? Let's do Chicago. 15,000 protesters in a city whose total population is 2.7 million. So in Chicago, it was 0.55%. Again, not even, just barely over a half a percentage. Bottom line, the majority of the country, however, did not care about these No Kings protests.
Nope.
But the media would have you believe these No Kings protests were overwhelming and significant and stood up to the monarchy under Donald Trump. Now, if we're being honest, most of the country probably didn't care about either the protests or the parade. But good job, liberals. Thank you so much. We have never had a king and still don't. But I was getting worried there for a second.
There was so many Republicans putting out like, good job with the No Kings thing. Like, I don't want kings either. Like nobody does.
Way to go.
Hey, we're in agreement.
Yeah.
The difference is we don't actually think we have one because we don't. Even Trump said, if I were a king, I wouldn't have to like push all these people to get things passed. I'd just do it.
Do it.
Like what kind of delusional shit? But I
agree, man. That's just weird.
But just think about that. In the city of Los Angeles, the total amount of protesters couldn't even fill up Charger Stadium or the Rams Stadium.
A hell of a parade. I know that.
Yeah. So, and it was and the parade may have been smaller, but again, it's one city with 21, mostly Democrats. In that
also,
city.
too, they were saying the weather was going to be shit, so a lot of people probably didn't go.
That too, and you can watch it on television.
Yeah.
And the last time we all showed up in Washington, D.C., look what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. If I was at January 6th, I probably wouldn't have went for the parade.
Yeah, you probably would have thrown us in jail just for being there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, Trump is still your president. So, what did we accomplish with these No King protests? Supposedly, the left are planning more No Kings protests on July 4th weekend, as I said earlier. Again, someone just educate them on what July 4th means, please, because it's painful to watch.
Are they going to do?
You're lucky I have kids, or I'd go to one of these stupid fucking protests.
Are they going to do the thing they did with the whole Thanksgiving thing, to where like they retcon it to where they make Thanksgiving about, you know what I mean?
Or a lot of people were saying that this last week when Juneteenth was celebrated, had Kamala Harris won, since it was so close to Independence Day, that they think that the Democrats' idea was to eventually replace July 4th with Juneteenth.
I'd have rioted. I would have rioted at that point.
Which is ironic, by the way, because Juneteenth, yes, it's about emancipation and the slaves finally being completely, no more, no longer slaves, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually look at the history of Juneteenth, it's the last remnants of slaves that were being held by Democrats who were not being told that slavery was ended. and a Republican had to go down to Texas and tell them, "Oh yeah, you're free now." After
Well, it's just like this. It's just like this. The Democrats are whining that they can't afford cheap labor, so they pay these people bare minimum, make them happy because they don't pay taxes, and then they put them on fucking welfare, make them depend on them.
Yeah,
it's modern day slavery.
100%.
Because the medical system don't help them either.
Yeah.
So like, oh my God.
I know and people still are asleep to this fact. The Democrat, by the way, the parties didn't switch either, mind you. This is proven true right now because the Democrats are still currently trying to make modern day slaves with the cheap labor and stuff. That's why they want the illegals here outside of voting stuff too. But
the only thing with the parties switching, no, the Republicans, the rhinos got bought out too. And
well, yeah, the things have changed in the parties, but it's not like, Republicans are automatically now we're the ones who are having slaves. No, that's not what happened. Things have changed a little bit, but no, it didn't flip completely like that because Democrats like to say, well, Republicans are the ones who have, wanted Jim Crow and all, no, it was them.
You can't talk about that when one of your biggest Democrats that you propped up was fucking gave a speech at a Klan member's funeral. So I called him a nice guy.
Yeah, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was really good friends with the leader of the KKK at one point. Let's keep that in mind.
And he made some very off-color remarks.
Oh yeah. Racist, flat out racist. You all watch and think Donald Trump's racist? Go find Joe Biden's quotes.
He even said Obama that he told him he was. What did he say? That he cleans up nice or some shit like that.
Yeah, he was the first clean, like eloquent speaker. Or
for
something
a black
to that
dude.
effect. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's completely racist. But more hateful stuff. You going to bed, Matt? You almost look like you're going to.
Yeah, I'm about to sleep. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to wrap this up quick. But anyway, if you have to go, that's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were gunned down and killed in their own home in Minnesota, alongside another Minnesota State senator who, at last check, was in critical condition. Why? These Democrat representatives in Minnesota, they had the audacity to vote against taxpayer-funded health care for illegal immigrants. Common sense legislation they voted for, and they were gunned down because of it. The assassin was a political appointee of Minnesota governor and former vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. The assassin, Vance Bolter, reportedly told the FBI in a letter that Tim Walz asked him to kill Senator Amy Klobuchar so that he could take her seat, per the Star Tribune. So this was not a Republican, as the media would have you believe here. If you need any more proof of that, here's a picture here for you, which made zero sense from the jump, because why would Democrat Tim Walz appoint a Republican to start with? Someone answer that question for me. Not to mention, the shooter literally had no King's flyers in his car.
Yeah.
This was flat out a case of Democrat on Democrat violence. Do as we say, toe the line, or face the consequences. Melissa Hortman stepped out of line, did the right thing, and unfortunately paid the consequences of being in the Democratic Party. Go ahead,
Eric. Eric and Miranda. This is the same trend with the Butler shooter, with the guy down in Florida, with the I still think the CEO has a role. The World Health has a little bit to do with this too. Are you noticing a trend that
it ain't random?
They're all made to look Republican.
Yeah. They said the shooter who tried to take out Trump was Republican, which we would.
To me, like it's being framed.
Well, they tried to say the guy who tried to shoot Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, well, he was a registered Republican, which is technically true. But we went over the fact that there were multiple Democrats who were in Pennsylvania were registering as Republicans. Democrats were registering as Republicans to vote in the primary to try to oust Trump by voting in Nikki Haley. That's what was going on then. But they don't tell you that fact. They just want you to believe it was a Republican. No, it's a Democrat who was registered as one and who didn't change it back before he went to shoot Trump because he didn't get the chance to vote for Kamala either.
Being framed as Republican.
Exactly, because they want you to believe the Republicans are the violent ones when it's the Democrats who are. 1,000%.
I think all that with these fucking riots by now, but
yeah, you think, but all of this, no, January 6th though, all of this coming on the heels of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz saying Democrats need to be a little meaner and bully the S out of people, or out of Trump too. There needs to be an immediate investigation into Tim Walz. It never made sense that it was a Republican shooter, so yeah. He needs to be investigated heavily. for this.
At this point, you've been implicated. A lot.
Yeah, implicated.
Cash Patel is probably so fucking busy right now.
He probably
We're giving him shit about not doing enough, but
and I'm about to do that a little more here in just a second. Anyway, we also got another Minnesota state rep, Kaoli Vong. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Was just
all
right. All right. See you guys. We're going to it soon anyway. But according to her, she is her own admission. She is an illegal immigrant serving as a state representative in Minnesota. She fraudulently obtained citizenship. Here you go.
Because his mother had died. My father, as the one processing the paperwork, put my grandmother down as his mother. And so I am illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country.
Now, according to Minnesota state law, it actually requires individuals to be United States citizens in order to run for office in the state. ICE, Tom Holman, you guys know what to do. Just saying.
Crazy.
How is she in office?
well, the other one that married her freaking brother, how's she in office?
Yeah, Ilhan Omar. Yeah. And by the way, she does not care for this country. Yeah. She's one of those. She's one of those who's infiltrated our country and tried to take it down from the inside. I fully believe that. So yeah, and to top off this tab here. By the way, this week also speaking of the FBI, they submitted evidence that China had made fake ballots to steal the 2020 election. So all you people who think the 2020 election was not stolen, the FBI has pretty much evidence of it. So yeah. And not only that, we've talked about how Joe Biden got a lot more votes than Kamala, than Obama. Obama, who was the Democratic savior, Biden got more votes than. No, I don't buy it. It was stolen. Trump's right.
I listened to the Mike Lindell trial notes and stuff. It looks like he lost the case, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is suing him for defamation. He got like $2 million or something like that. But he was trying to sue MyPillow also. But he didn't get any money from MyPillow. But a lot of information came out with Dominion voting and that kind of stuff that we should be hearing a lot more about.
Good. I hope we do.
Election and probably beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they were still using the machines last year too. So.
Well, I hope we do. We need to get this and everything that was happened in from 2020, 2025. Or 2021, that's what probably needs to be overturned and reversed for the most part. Yeah. So yeah, we need to get all this sorted out. But Democrats are just losing it left and right. If it's not the pointless No Kings protests and the LA riots, it's Democrat Representative LaMonica McIver who attacked ICE agents. And for those of you who don't remember, she's the one in the red jacket. Getting physically involved. She apparently is being indicted with 3 federal charges for forcibly impeding and interfering with federal law enforcement. She faces 17 years in prison. Finally.
As she should.
Absolutely.
Again, should be made a martyr.
Oh, yeah. If she's actually, convicted, thrown in jail and all that stuff. So hopefully this ends up, they follow through with it because they need to. Other ones they probably need to follow through with. Democratic Senator Jose. Alex Padilla.
Ready showed me this earlier, bro. I was cracking up.
They hated when who was it who said it? JD Vance.
Vance.
Yeah.
And then he had another post ending it with "No way, Jose."
Nice. Alex Padilla, Jose, he attempted to rush the stage at Kristi Noem in her press conference and was detained by officers. For those of you who think that, they can't understand why he's being detained, he was just trying to ask a question. First of all, check to see when he starts to identify himself as after he's already being pushed back. And then 2, you can't just rush a stage like this.
Sir.
Look how close he is to the front.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
You gotta wonder what they're covering up. Why they're
fighting so hard.
Yeah.
Because he knows cameras are there. He's gonna be making.
And a lot of it, I'm sorry.
It's on your back.
A lot of it's got to do with trafficking.
Yeah.
Drug and human.
Yeah, and I think there's a voting thing too, which I'm going to touch on a little bit. But yeah, the drug trafficking, human trafficking, you name it, they've got their hands involved in it. Foreign war stuff, they're afraid, oh, that's going to stop. You name it. These politicians are involved in everything. And people under Trump and with Trump, most people under Trump, and Trump especially, is trying to put a stop to this. And this is why they're fighting harder than you've ever seen before. The house of cards, as it were, hopefully is beginning to crumble. And we're going to get more
You know
into
what
that
I
too.
hope for? We've got the superhero movies that are telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
We need the history. After all this is over, we need to know how we got here.
I would love to see a great documentary of all this. I mean, it'd be 20 hours long.
I'm sure.
It'd be a long series, but multiple seasons.
I'm sure.
Yeah, break it up. Yeah. But here's the thing, too. Well, I was just trying to ask a question. We got thrown to the ground. How dare they treat a United States senator that way, or state senator? But here's the thing: she was having a news conference. She didn't call on you for a question. They weren't doing questions. She was talking, and you tried to get on stage and make it all about you.
Yeah.
I think that your question was so important. There's a time and place for it. Number one, wait for the questions to where question segment where you can ask a question. Or set up a meeting with her, which apparently they had one afterwards. Kirstie Noem was nice enough to give it to him. But again, and you don't understand why you were wrestled to the ground and shoved out of there when you attempted to get so close to stage without identifying yourself first until after you were getting pushed back. Yeah, you deserve to be in cuffs. In jail, as a matter of fact.
Again, all those, think about it. She was having a news press conference. It's a lot of cameras, brother.
That's what he wanted. Mm-hmm. Performative theater.
That's all it was. That's all it was.
Yep. More performative theater. Apparently, comptroller and New York City mayoral candidate Brad Lander tried to also impede with federal ICE agents as well. So, yeah, here's a quick video of that if I can find it real quick.
Is he getting choked out? Why is that face that way?
I don't know. He's a gray-haired dude on the right here. I guess ICE agents came in and tried to take an illegal while he was there. And he's like, well, you guys don't have the authority to do that. And here he is trying to interject himself. He's got a hold of the illegal's arm.
This is not legal to take someone without a judicial warrant. Please don't put him in the elevator and then claim you have the warrant. You don't have a warrant for him. I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it?
They don't need a judicial warrant. I don't know what you're talking about. Now, first thing I want to point out, too, is everybody's like, why are all these ICE agents wearing masks? How dare they not show their face? You know why they're not showing their face? It's because these agents have been doxxed and people have been like telling where these people live and they're going and being violent toward these people's families. These federal ICE agents don't need to be dealing with that stuff. They're only doing their job. So that's why they have to wear the mask, number one.
Don't ask me questions about why they're wearing masks when half your peaceful
rioters
are wearing fucking masks.
Exactly. So I just wanted to spell that, number one. But yeah, he continues to go on here, basically,
Again,
resisting cops and stuff.
Cameras.
Yeah, cameras. Exactly, cameras. It's being a little laggy, but anyway. Oh, that was a better video of it. I should have showed that one. But yeah, I mean, completely just. And now they ended up having to force him and cuff him as well.
And cameras.
Yeah, cameras are all in this. And I want to say this was at like a judicial hearing or something like that.
He knows damn well they're not doing anything wrong. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But this is all, again, performance theater. That's what this shit is.
Yeah. Now, Padilla and Lander FA'd and found then FO'd. So, yeah, these incidents were performative theater, as Brandon pointed out. Nothing more. Both Padilla and Lander say they can't understand why they were detained. Yet, sadly, both were also let go. They're no longer in jail. Throw these people in prison. I know there's a lot that goes into this, but it frustrates me because the more the Trump administration, more specifically his Department of Justice and FBI, continue to allow these people to break the law and walk away, the more they're going to do it. We need to bring the hammer down on these morons.
If they're going to break the law as public officials, they need to spend time at Gitmo.
Yeah.
Or Rikers.
They were
or Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And if you're a public official and you break the fucking law,
you're no longer a public official. Period.
No. And you go to hell.
Yeah. Stop with this censure bullshit. Expel them from their position.
Yep.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Not to mention the bottom of the screen here shows both of them tweeting, "No one is above the law" when Donald Trump was facing the judicial system.
Obviously,
but they're against it now.
Yeah.
So again, just performative theater. Speaking of hilarious theater, though, Arnold Schwarzenegger went on the.
So, pretext. We had just watched this video of Arnold Schwarzenegger and two British guys, and they were on this doing a little interview, and they're having like Austrian food from his country. Like he was very funny. He was very, engaging in the conversation. And then I saw this, and I almost peed on myself.
Because what you're about to see, if you've not seen this by now, The View brings Arnold Schwarzenegger on the air as a former California governor who was actually a Republican, but he definitely ruled more as a Democrat, or legislated as a Democrat. And they wanted him to come on here and basically told the line of ICE bad, immigrants or illegal immigrants good, but didn't go the way The View expected.
You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant, I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine they came over here with the age of 21, with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity.
Now, listen, when he's about to speak here in a second, you're going to hear what it sounds like an audible gasp from the hosts when he says things that they don't want to hear.
And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do, on July 4th, a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America, the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech there. They asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
That's great.
So it's really a great celebration. And this is what this is all about, is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and all that. And so I just think the world of the great kind of history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal. And those people that are doing illegal things in America,
watch Sonny Austin's hands, right?
They are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house, and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do, rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant,
she wants to jump in
think
so
about,
bad.
okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community.
So yeah, that was pretty much that whole thing. But yeah, you can hear an audible gasp when he said you got to do things legal, and then she's like, whoa! She tried to stop him.
Where is he wrong though?
He's not.
He's the aspect of like he put it in very simple terms too. Like I didn't even think about that. The analogy used of okay, Eric. I bring my kids over to your house. They've been to your place plenty of times. The first time we came to your house, I told them, yes, Eric has a lot of Legos and shit. Don't touch them. Okay, do me a
mostly
favor.
Pops now than Legos, but yeah.
Yeah, but you remember you had that big ass Millennium Falcon underneath the table.
Yeah. Oh, I still got
and
that.
I'm like, don't touch it. Like, do me a favor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We always clean up before we leave. All the because I'm a guest in your home, and if I want to return to your house again, I won't leave my shit there.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is the same aspect here.
Yeah.
Other than your wallet when it finds its way into Eric's couch
Which was
for 6 months.
couch, because his couch decided, hey, let me get that.
No, the problem is you didn't leave the money with it. That's the problem.
No,
But
that's why. Ask Holly from work. I don't let him have money.
Yeah,
don't blame you there. But yeah, this went completely the opposite direction of you. They thought he'd come in here and be like, ICE is evil, they're just hurting immigrants and all this stuff. No, he said exactly what is the truth, and ICE are doing their jobs, and you got to show respect to the American people when you come here as an immigrant, and you need to be legal. It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and they could not stop it.
God wanted to not cheer him. They were like, I mean,
They had to, because it was true. And they respect him as a former governor of California. Now, I've had my issues with Schwarzenegger because let's not forget, during the pandemic, he said, quote, screw your freedom when it comes to you need to get the COVID-19 shot. So I don't agree with what he said there, but this here, he's 100% on point on, and I'm so glad that he did this on The View. On The View also this week, Whoopi Goldberg definitely caused some waves, and this went viral, as she said that being black in America is worse than people living in Iran. Yeah, so listen to this.
Slow. But let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings.
First of all, let's point out that this woman here, Alyssa, whatever her last name is, she's Iranian. So
they don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
I'm sorry, but where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing
used
compared
to
to the
just
United
keep
States.
hanging black people. So
It is not even the same. I couldn't step foot during this.
Wait. That's not what you mean to say. It is the same.
No, it's not. The year 2025 in the United States is nothing like if I step foot wearing this outfit in Toronto.
Killed for I'm sorry.
What, they wear like
listen,
no, I can't have my hair showing. I can't wear a skirt. I can't have my arms out.
I'm telling you, as
I literally said it was up to the Iranian people.
Yes,
it is up to them.
And that's why I am saying that it is the same. Murdering someone for their difference is not good, whoever does it. It's not good. So that's why I said you weren't saying what I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Toronto.
Yeah, so bitch, you worth $60 million.
Oh my God.
And then she goes on to say that, there's just no way I can ever explain to you the victim mentality, and maybe Brandon could speak on this more because but this woman's worth $60 million. She's a woman. She's black. I mean, go talk to Will Smith, Kevin Hart, Barack Obama. Black people can be successful in this country. I mean, the reason why she can't explain her point is because she's wrong. Yeah, 1,000%. Even Bill Maher, who I've had my bunch of issues with, even he says it's time to do something about Whoopi Goldberg. Get her off The View because she's speaking nonsense.
No, send her ass to Gitmo too for being so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
if she wants to complain about how bad it is here, let's show her how bad it can be.
Yeah, go to Iran then. See how long you last.
Put it this way, I'll tell you, like I told another person, a black person I got into an argument with years ago, when the statement was, you can't compare your life to a black woman in this aspect just because you're married to a black man. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you what I told her. She can't, as a black woman, compare her life and experiences to a black man because she's a black woman.
Yeah.
Two different avenues.
Yeah.
Where I grew up and how I grew up was vastly different from where she grew up and how she grew up. Even though we may share the same skin color, my life was vastly fucking different. I woke up in many of shitty situations. I promise you she did not walk down the same roads I did.
No.
So in this aspect of Whoopi Goldberg, we live two different lifestyles. Yes, don't get me wrong. You lived through a very tumultuous time to be black in America, but you made it out of that whole situation to where now you're a fucking millionaire.
But it was the Democrats' fault then too.
Yeah, a lot of us don't have that. We don't walk down the same fucking street as you.
But
you
even
have other things. But then to compare that to what you went through at one point in life, to where you are now to say that an Iranian woman who lives in a country where I don't give a fuck how much money she has, she gets treated like shit is not the same.
They can't even vote over there.
Not the same.
No. Well,
She
no,
could sit on a platform that you have and have these same bullshit discussions that you have. Period. It wouldn't happen.
Gets paid for $8 million to do it. And yeah, the Ayatollah over there wouldn't allow that sort of discourse. You wouldn't even have this show. Not to mention, even if she was flat out broke, I don't know if she ever was, but even if she still was, she'd still have it better than anybody over in Iran. Still, regardless of what color you are.
I don't know why people think that it's such a fucking like America's. They make our what's the word I'm looking for? They make our misgivings and tumultuous times here seem like they're the worst in the fucking world. In reality,
it's worse elsewhere.
Cakewalk compared to some fucking countries.
Not only that, I read today too. I have to double check to make sure it's true. But if it's true about slavery in America, they said, we're talking about percentages earlier with the No King's rights and stuff. What I read was the amount of slaves that Americans owned in 1860 was 1.6% or so of the entire nation. Again, very small minority of people had slaves. But they want to say, I'm not saying that's good. Nobody should. But at the same time, you want to act like everybody in America and across the world had slaves back then. That's not true.
There are other places in the world who had slaves by far more many and still do to this fucking day.
Now, and they want to say America's
We're all
so evil
fucking slaves.
And one aspect or another, you're 100%
Fucking system.
We've got the internet, the greatest tool for knowledge in the world, and people don't use it. But
we're all slaves behind that shit too. Everybody's a slave in the aspect.
Unfortunately, people don't look at the right stuff for sure.
No.
They look at a bunch of propaganda. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. We had a lot this week, guys. You got to be out of here by any certain time. We're about done though. So okay. I'm trying to scoot. All right. So I didn't know about Miranda, but anyway, the craziest on internet interview shows continued this week when Ted Cruz did an interview this week with Tucker Carlson. Now, I'm not always a big fan of Ted Cruz, but in my opinion, Ted Cruz got ambushed a bit this week by Tucker Carlson here. Now, that doesn't mean I hate Tucker Carlson either, but this whole interview's goal, at least in this interview, was made to make Ted Cruz look bad. I lost a lot of respect for Tucker here. He was not interviewing in good faith. Everything was designed as a gotcha. So listen to this.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. Yeah. How could you not know that?
Why would I know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables. Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government. Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country... I didn't say I don't know anything about what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
What is this, a pop quiz session?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
Which they are.
You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
See, again, he's trying to say, you said we're actually having an offensive with Israel. No, that's not what he said. Again, this just felt like Tucker was trying to make him look terribly here. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Ted Cruz all the time, but this to me was disingenuous from Tucker Carlson. You guys have any other thoughts on that?
Like he's become this weird, bitter, but I don't know which word, like how to quantify it in some aspects. Like I enjoy Tucker's way of,
now,
I guess, doing interviews, but then at the same time, like there are times where it's just like, what are we actually doing?
Well, and I appreciate that Tucker is trying to press his interviewee on issues and questions. That's good. I want that of my journalism. But at the same time, like, again, the population, why does that matter when it comes to the situation we're talking about here? You know, some of this just didn't make sense. Like, again, they got into an argument again about the, you know, whether you support Israel and stuff like that. So again, well, that was
some of it is the America first aspect of it. You can't be America first if you're saying Israel first.
Well, I get that side of it. I do. And I thought this was a little
America first means us.
Miranda dropped out, but I'll kind of pick up. Yeah, us over Israel, clearly. But obviously, this was a little this was a retort that Ted Cruz posted. Technically, and to be fair, the Death Star for Iran is not fair. Yes, I understand what he's trying to say is that the Iranian government wants to kill all sorts, like everybody. But as Miranda pointed out earlier, the Iranian people don't necessarily. I'm sure a lot of people on the Death Star probably didn't either. But so he thought this was apropos. But he was asking about a, you know, dictatorial regime, and of course there were some people online who said it was basically Tucker should have been interviewing Tarkin instead of Luke Skywalker in this meme. But either way, whether you like Ted Cruz or Tucker or not, I don't know, it just felt weirder in this instance for Tucker Carlson. I felt like he was ambushing Ted Cruz here. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
No, I mean, it's about like that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was very weird, no doubt about it. Hopefully we'll get Miranda back here, but we'll have to wait to see. I'm trying to wrap up here too. JD Vance learned from the best in regards to trolling this week. There she is. So yeah. Oh, we'll see if she wants to say anything on that. Maybe not.
That was weird.
Oh yeah, you good?
My browser just completely vanished. Everything shut down.
That happened to me once. I had to restart my computer when it happened to me. So.
And no, the browser just closed. And
Did you have anything else you want to add about Tucker and Ted?
No.
Okay.
She's like, I'm not talking about it again.
I'm just
I don't blame you. But anyway, I just expect a little bit better out of Tucker in that regard. Just gonna say that. JD Vance this week, he who has learned from the best in regards to trolling. He joined the liberal echo chamber known as Blue Sky this week.
That was hilarious.
And he immediately got suspended within 12 minutes of his first post for simply discussing the Supreme Court ruling to uphold a ban on minor transgender surgeries in Tennessee. So much for the party of tolerance, eh? This right here is why we cannot allow Democrats to regulate free speech like the likes of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
Yeah,
they are continuing to suggest.
Did you see how many people they banned him or whatever, and then people just started blocking him? And
it was like hundreds of thousands of Democrats. Because again, when you cannot compete in the arena of ideas, run away to your echo chamber. That is exactly what Blue Sky is.
Something else that's being exposed are the bot farms. So if you've got hundreds of thousands of bots blocking JD Vance, so nothing's real.
Hilarious.
I mean, all he did was talking about his views on the Supreme Court ruling. And within 12 minutes, boom, gone. This is what X used to be for conservative voices like JD Vance before Elon Musk bought it. So now liberals are getting a taste of their own medicine over there on Blue Sky. Well, kind of, but not really, because they're not getting banned. But anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. They're getting what they once had in X over there on Blue Sky. That's why they're retreating from X. So yeah,
that's hilarious. That's fucking funny.
Okay, it's bad, but that's why you cannot allow Democrats to regulate free speech. As this week, Barack Obama once again suggested new governmental oversight of social media and online access, etc. He said we need new constraints to limit what we called hateful and polarizing voices, what he called that. In short, he and the Democrat Party want to regulate free speech in order to regulate what they believe is fact from opinion. Do you see how this can become a problem? No governmental agency or political party should be allowed to regulate free speech, because then who exactly makes the decision on what is true or false? The only way to determine fact from fiction is through open civil discourse. Open debate must be allowed to happen in the United States. Only one party is calling for this, and it sure is not Trump or the Republicans. This right here is how authoritarian regimes work. But because Democrats like Obama tell eloquent lies and Trump tells brutal truth that people don't want to hear and it hurts their little feelings, It's time to put a stop to it, says Barack Obama. I say no, I will not go back to the days where I'm supposed to just believe what the government says is true because they never lie, right? But that's what Obama and people like Hillary Clinton have said. Hillary Clinton's like, well, we need to regain control over the internet because so we can control the narrative. No, you mean you want to lie to us and you liked it better that way when we didn't actually find out the truth. That's what you're saying. And Trump comes in there, tells us the truth. People don't like it, and now people hate him for it. People hate the truth. Just ask the Bible and Christians and Jesus Christ. They've hated truth for thousands of years. And here we are once again. So, yeah. Barack Obama and the Democratic Party calling for restrictions on the First Amendment. You got any thoughts about that?
I'd rather you tell me the truth and be brutally honest than bullshit.
Yeah. Because then when I find out you're BSing me, I'm more mad at you than if you just told me the truth.
Tell me the truth, whatever. I'll get over it.
Yeah. Just be honest with me, up front from the very beginning, but that's not the way the government works. And we've known that for years. People, even when, we were supposed to believe what the television, the news, and the government told us, we all knew there was something amiss. Area 51, anyone?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We could go down the list. JFK assassination, Martin Luther King. We could continue to go down this rabbit hole all day long.
The shot?
Yeah. Yeah.
9/11?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The shot's more recent. But yeah, I mean, I will not go back to the days where we just, let's believe everything that's in the textbooks and let's believe everything the government says on the news. No, I'm not doing that no more because too much stuff has been exposed and I can't go back. I cannot replug back into the matrix, as it were. I won't do it. This week, too, if you're a New York Mets fan, you might want to think about turning in your season tickets. Apparently, now, admittedly, this was Pride Night at the New York Mets Stadium, but I don't care if it was Pride Night or not. During the national anthem, the New York Mets put up a video board of the pride flag. No, that moment should be reserved completely for the national anthem of the United States of America. So resend your tickets now if you are a Mets fan. And they got a lot of backlash and heat for this, as they should have. So, yeah. And to be honest, this is the only first real big news I've heard about the Pride Month. How about you? Everything else has been kind of, downplayed because we had so much other crap going on. So I'm kind of happy about that to some regards. So
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either.
Go back.
Move on.
Nobody gave a shit about what you were doing.
Yeah, most people have, and a lot of companies have too. I think only was it like 13 or so teams in the NFL chose not to do Pride stuff this year. So start. A lot of companies have decided not to do it because it's not selling. So yeah,
obviously.
There you go. Obviously. But speaking of flags, Trump's flag poles go up at the White House, so we've officially got those installed.
Yeah, Brandon told me about this where he put those big ass flags up.
Yeah, one on the front of the building and one on the back side of the building too. So yeah, they're huge. They're like 88 to 100 feet tall, if I'm not mistaken. So they kind of remind me of that big old flag down at Golden Corral just south of here. Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know if it's that big or not. It doesn't quite look that, but it's huge.
We should see one that was huge. I don't know if it's still there.
There's one going to Odin.
Yeah, going to Odin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're
massive.
I mean, they're beautiful, but yeah, I'm glad these are installed on Trump's own dime. By the way, nobody paid for this other than Donald Trump himself. So he didn't have to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Just shows how patriotic he is and how much he wants to. And he's also going to, I think, pay for a new ballroom made with gold and things like that, so they can have events and stuff instead of being outside when it could rain. So again,
that's just him going like
the extra mile.
Made it better.
Yeah, the extra mile that he does not have to do, but out of the goodness of his heart, for all you people who think he's evil, he's doing just that. So good on him. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell will not lower interest rates because that would mean Orange Man good. He lowered the interest rates under Joe Biden despite a far worse economy, but with a better economy under Donald Trump, he refuses to lower them. He would rather Americans continue to suffer than do the right thing. Trump derangement syndrome is a mental disorder and the real pandemic. Jerome Powell's term lasts until May of 2026, but if it's possible, should Donald Trump consider firing him? He's clearly holding American families back for political reasons. Thoughts?
Yep, 100%.
Trump said something about appointing himself. So do something. I'm tired of paying 5% interest on my fucking house.
Yeah, I know a friend at work who's looking for a house right now, and he doesn't want to get stuck in these huge high interest rates.
I know,
and locked into it. Right, so yeah, I mean, bring it down. The economy is better under Trump than it was under Biden, and you lowered it for him. Stop being political with it. It's not about you, jackass. Yeah, jackass. But anyway, In other news, that should make Elon Musk happy. The first rescission package with $9.3 billion in Doge saving cuts passed the House and will now head to the United States Senate. And if it's passed, it will defund USAID, USAID, NPR, and PBS. So there you go, Elon. You were all mad that some of your stuff was not in the big beautiful bill. Well, it's in
wasn't
this.
that long. They obviously made up.
I think he finally came to his senses. I really do. Or if you believe the conspiracy part of it,
still think it was
together.
Yeah, I just think
maybe I don't know.
There's no way he was that passionate, said the shit that he said, and then a couple days later go, yeah, my fault. We're good.
I'm just mad we didn't get the damn Epstein files from it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we do. And apparently Elon did appear with Trump at an event, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
It wasn't old footage. Okay. I saw that. I didn't know for certain, but yeah.
It was right there. They were just like nothing fucking happened.
Nothing happened. And, they just had a beef very publicly, but they had a beef, and hopefully they worked it out. So the MAGA powers are reunited once again, hopefully. But anyhow. But since this rescission package could completely defund USAID, now we know why Democrats were so mad when Trump shut down funding to Ukraine and USAID, because it turns out the Democrats are broke, ladies and gentlemen. Just when you thought the current state of the Democratic Party couldn't get any worse, reports are now saying that the DNC is out of money, and top officials are now talking about taking out loans to cover their bills. So when you overspend for Kamala Harris's campaign and you don't win, well, guess what? You're left in a lot of debt. So you love to see it, and you got to love it when a plan comes together. You know what I'm saying? So again, defunding USAID, all this stuff affects the Democratic Party in the long run when it comes to their finances, guys. This is all strategic. Yeah, and hopefully this means the end of the Democratic Party, but they're going to probably find some money somewhere. Somebody's going to donate to them or something to keep them afloat, because they're like rats that you can't get rid of them. But anywho, so yeah. Anywho, speaking of Elon Musk, he may sue the New York Times about drug allegations, as he recently took to X and posted the results of a drug test he took, which came back negative. And the left says the right are conspiracy theorists, but the difference is the right's theories are usually proven correct. The left want to say that Elon Musk was on all sorts of drugs and stuff. That's why he had the black eye at the White House, and here we are, no drug use there in that report. So hope he sues him into oblivion. I really do. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, absolutely. Our last story of the night here. Democrats refuse to show up to a House Judiciary Committee hearing on the cover-up of Joe Biden's decline and the Democrats' abuse of the auto pen. The Democrats are acting like it's no big deal because they want us to forget about their abuses and move on. This should be on every single news outlet in the world, but the media will not report on this major scandal. Here's Representative Josh Hawley explaining the Democrats' cowardice.
Here, all you have to do is look over at this side of the dais to see that the stone wall continues. I mean, from the party that lied to this nation for 4 years, let's just take a look at some of the things that our colleagues said on the Democrat side when their own Justice Department was concluding that Joe Biden, who, let's not forget, illegally took classified documents and kept them in his garage, in his freezer. I mean, Lord knows where. He just certainly didn't know.
And it's still not been held accountable.
Their own Justice Department interviewed the guy and concluded he could not form the requisite mental state to stand trial. He did not have the mental ability to stand trial. And what did our Democrat colleagues say? Vice President Harris says, oh, no. The way that the Hur report characterized the president is so wrong. The president's demeanor is totally fine. Senator Smith, what the Hur said about the president not remembering his son's death, so unfair. Senator Kaine said this is grandstanding. Senator Fetterman said it's just cheap shots. You had other senators saying, Senator Ossoff in February of 2024, saying, and I quote, I found the president to be sharp, focused, impressive, formidable, and effective.
Lies.
In June 2024, Congressman Jeffries insists Biden was, and I'm quoting again, incredibly strong, forceful, and decisive. Where are they now? They don't want to answer for any of those quotes now. They lied to us for 4 years, and we know they lied. They know they lied. It's why they're not here. They don't want to answer a single question. They can't bear to show their faces in public.
Exactly. It's just a total embarrassment, if you ask me, top to bottom. But this is the MO of the Democratic Party, though. You got to understand, never being held accountable for their actions. But if Republicans covered up Trump and propped him up like Weekend at Bernie's and signed executive orders and pardons in his name, imagine the gnashing of teeth that the Democrats would be doing right now. But they want to act like it's a non-issue. It would never really happen. That's why they're not showing up. They won't justify this with their presence. Well, it looks an awful lot like they don't want to be held accountable and questioned about it because it's true. So, dear Democrats, keep doing what you're doing. Voters can see that you are crazy and should never be in charge again. Just ask the 2024 election. So there you go. And that's all I got for tonight. What else you guys want to talk about? Anything? What do you think about these Democrats not showing up?
Crazy though. Like that whole side was empty to me.
Yeah, not a soul to be found.
I wouldn't have said shit. I'd have just been like,
yeah.
Somebody needs to let Ray in.
All right, cool. Right on. Well, I think we're going to end the show tonight anyway. It's getting kind of late on a work night at that. I know me and Brandon are not too bad, but Miranda may have to get up kind of early. So we thank you for doing the show, Miranda. I know it's kind of late, and hopefully we'll be back on Saturday next week. I think that's the plan. So next Saturday night. So we'll be back for our show next week. And then we'll have a couple weeks off because I'll be going out of town and 4th of July holiday and all that good jazz. So, but thank you guys so much for watching tonight. We appreciate your viewership. I know it's been a long show. We had a lot to talk about since we had 2 weeks off, but as always, we appreciate your guys' viewership. And by the way, if you're checking this out for the first time, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. Don't forget to comment what you guys think about anything we talked about during this podcast. I'm still trying to maybe hopefully get some more clip shows out for this podcast. So people who don't necessarily want to sit through the entire podcast live, that's totally fine. I mean, we can put that out there for you too, but also follow us on Rumble, follow us on X and all that good jazz. You guys know the drill. Thank you so much for watching. Until next week, guys, take care. And as always, God bless and pray for peace because we definitely need it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Later.